because Waka always used to travel when he comes to me with a big delegation. The man ain't got money. He won't travel like he stay VP.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Gilman, what's up?
Hey, the Bassa Chief in here, Zogan from Charlesville. Hey, you ready?
I'll call you that the Memorial Day weekend starts now, right?
Yeah, man. We're not coming back to Tuesday. But you're having a show on Monday, right?
Yeah.
We're having a Memorial Day special.
Yeah.
Okay. Any announcement?
Well, we just getting started.
For Monday, for Monday. Anything
for
special?
Monday, nothing planned yet. Nothing planned yet.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Well, how's the day, man? How's the Memorial Day weekend? I know plenty of people coming to Florida.
Oh, yes. I mean, the airport, the roads are jammed already, man. Yep, everybody is coming for Memorial Day.
Okay.
How is Philadelphia, man? How you guys doing?
Well, Philly is here, and everybody getting ready. You know, it's Memorial Day weekend. People are getting set to go traveling. And I was telling somebody just now is the America Decoration Day. That's one day. Yeah, they have the Decoration Day. But yes, we have in Costa tonight. I don't know, take it or leave it. People, whoever want to say it. Costa has become one of the leading voices in our politics, and he's single-handedly practically helped the UP get elected. And that was the case, and because of that, he's considered one of the most popular talk show hosts in the country. Since he's left the airwaves, people have been saying they've been missing him and so forth. But tonight, people expect us to engage him and ask the questions that need to be asked, and see what happens from there.
But listen, like you say, you have to give credit where credit is due. You like Costa or not, he has made his mark. And yes, there is a space, and actually there is a void. When we're talking about talk show, when we're talking about these things, this gentleman is a progenitor of what we are doing here. When he started, it was just him and few other folks here and there. But when we're talking about the glory days of Liberian talk show, that's Costa. You can't deny that.
I mean, take it or leave it. This man, wait, just hold on a second, yeah. I'm getting calls on all over the world. I know.
Oh, believe it or not, like him or dislike him, Costa is the progenitor of Liberian talk shows. Before there was Spoon, before there were closing argument, before there were anybody, a mainstream talk show, it was Costa. Whether you like him or you don't like him, that's the fact. And wherever he shows up now, people want to hear from him. People want to listen to his thoughts. And this man, whether you like it or not, we are going to talk about it. This man single-handedly, he was the man who raised Lazarus from the dead. When nobody wanted to hear anything about Joseph Boycott, it was Costa that single-handedly kept him alive through his media. And guess what? Nobody can deny him that. He did it. You can say whatever you want to say. It's like Baka Mafia used to say, usually those who started revolution never tend to leave it or lead it or enjoy the fruit of the labor. This man single-handedly brought Joseph Boycott to power. And look, so we're gonna delve into that. If I was Costa, I would be as mad as anybody else. He's a professional person.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's a professional person. Oh, there we go. Our young scholar, Mr. Myean, how you doing at House Monrovia?
I'm doing good. I yourself. Monrovia is okay for my end. Painesville, to be specific.
Oh, Painesville, okay. How's the YED going? I know you guys are taking a major test.
Yeah, it's not bad for my end. All you do is just you have to study because it is exam that you don't know the question that is coming, so you just have to study from all angles. So that's what we are doing.
Excellent. The next generation of Liberian media professionals are getting ready. So we can, based on what I've been seeing, we want to say thank you to the the operation, the manager, the management for bringing on and preparing Liberia's next generation of leaders. And I think Mr. George can say here, if he goes to sleep tonight, he feels okay that Liberia is in good hands when it comes to the media and journalism. So this is great. Honorable George, I know your phone is ringing off the hook, but you got business to do here. We have our man, our brother, our friend, our colleague.
Yes, it's true.
He's coming on.
Costa will be joining us in 10 minutes, so we'll be getting him. So we can start the discussion, preliminary discussions, and he'll be joining us in 10 minutes. So, guys, this show is live. Other stations other local stations are simulcasting the show. People have actually told me they're going to do it, and they are doing it right now. So, I want to say thanks to all those who are simulcasting the show on the live. But this show is being lively, it's very live, and all walks are tuning in right now. So, Costa is a big political figure. He's someone who commands a lot of attention, a lot of respect in the political climate in Liberia. See what you want to say about him. Someone who people have come to know a lot. If you think that he was going down because he supported CDC, now he reconciled with the president, and so he's going down. No, but the questions will be asked tonight. We ask the tough questions that we can ask about Costa's role, president's role in the country, president role in the country, and what lies ahead for the future. He's someone who is not going to draw back. I'm sure he's going to answer the questions. So we are here tonight, and a lot of people are tuning in tonight. And today I know perhaps Costa may bring a record. You may bring the largest of viewers for the TCA tonight because of who he is. I mean, and if this person who is very popular, this man was on the airwaves almost 6 years, getting on 4 o'clock in the morning, Delaware time, and he was calling the shots. He was holding people. He was making a case, and everybody tuning in every time to listen to him. And so, despite what happened over the year, but he still maintained his position. He still commands the attention that is due him. So I give it to him. But that doesn't mean that we're not asking the tough questions tonight. We got to ask him the tough questions. People are watching. I know I received several calls from people in the government and in the opposition since he announced his appearance, and everybody been asking questions about it. So we are here to play our part. And Mr. Gaiman, I trust that you would play your part. Ben Sanvee is traveling. It's Memorial Day weekend. Peabody is traveling, but we'll be joined by 2 of our colleagues too. Looking forward to seeing them. I'm looking forward to seeing Pewee and perhaps Robert to be joining us later on as the show progresses. But Costa will be here very soon. In the next 10 minutes, he will be here. That's 8 minutes. And we'll be going. So let's welcome all those. I see people watching. I see my own man, officer. He's a police officer in New Jersey, Officer Conrad Yinka. I also see the other troublemaker. Who is she attacking me? Ruth Bravo Spengba. I don't know what's no problem. She's like a friend of everybody in the country. But I should be enemy of everybody. But dear, come on, Ruth. I also see Westlaw. I see Costa Princess, Martina Konate. Wow. I see that. I mean, and Costa guys followers. All his people are around. You see Sam Pupo watching from Caldwell. And so all these folks, we recognizing them. Yes, they are here. Just imagine that the man has not even appeared yet, and the numbers are going up. And these are organic. It's not like what people think the other people do.
That's right.
Okay, Philip Cathy watching from London. So come on, if you Emmett Hammond following from Car City. Yeah. I see Naomi Zekwi watching from Matadi. I see Joseph Aaron Mobile following from Boys Town. Henry Doe, my own big brother watching from Rhode Island. I mean, there's the man they call Henry Petro Costa. That's what makes this man very popular. I see Momo Kamara watching from Dover, Delaware. I mean, take it or leave it. This the man. This Henry Petro Costa. This guy was a young man, made his name ever since. He been around for long, and say what you want to say, but this guy, he's very popular. He have gone after everybody. He don't hold his punches. He's gone after everybody, and so
we got people here from South Korea, from Atlanta,
yeah,
Georgia.
Martin Willie. Martin Willie is our favorite guy from South Korea. So we see Benedict Gade from Atlanta, Georgia. Wayne Joasame. Okay.
Thank you. My grandmaster people are tuning in. That's good. Got Joshua Harris.
And see, Ennis Carter. Look, if the men who are going with Ennis Carter, people won't be tuning in to watch this man. Come on.
Listen, Grandmaster County is in the house, so that's cool. Everybody can tune in, but when Grandmaster County tune in,
I just share the show, please. Nicholas Mobile. We see Patience Siema. We see Mustafa Keita from PHP.
The Congo Town in the house.
Share the show, please. Share the show.
We got Congo Town in the house. Let me see.
I mean, I like what the person said, and Bilson, that's a good point. He said Henry P. Costa needs to start his own movement instead of supporting politicians. Yes,
that's right.
Yes, I see Yomancho Asiru Menza, Clarence Davis, Peter White, Ambassador K. Praise Kiro, Ja Eddie from Zizon, We District, Grand Bassa.
That's right.
Wow. I don't know. I see that when the chairman will make brief appearance before he Chairman Sanvee. But yes, folks, let's make it a great start of a great Memorial Day weekend. I see Chokon Dumba, Neymar Wajo.
We got Saclapia City, Nima is in the house.
Philip Justice, Supreme Colley, Godwin Campbell Toe Sr., James K. Tokba. And look, Zavi Salif from Clarendon. Since I announced Costa appearance, I've been receiving calls from all over and all across the political spectrum. People have been asking, and then people say, will he come? We'll be interested to listen to him. We haven't heard him for a long time. And so there's an opportunity for you guys to come and hear Costa tonight. Yes. Okay, Jerry G.N. Dami from Gibby Mountain, D. Rockland, Patience Siema, Martina Konate. Martina is calling the road. She's calling Yusuf Salih, Gambule Kamara, Amara M. Kamara, Joseph Dawe, Fajansky Diallo, Wonder, Honor Augustine Pine. I say Martina, the princess, she's calling the road for all the for the Costa team, you know. The guy is unfollowing, man.
That's right.
I mean, if that's what happened, you know. This is okay. And so other platform there tonight, y'all I can tell you right now. I can tell you other platform is watching this show tonight. Costa will make them to watch the folks to watch this show. So don't mind on the platform they tune in on the other side and tell on the phone to watch what happened here. But guys, that make it a good show. Ambassador Joseph N. Kaiya Jr. from Rwanda, Kigali. Okay, I say Patience Siema. They get that COPO. I want to Costa, big fan there. Patience Siema. Oh yeah. Moses Kia, Ghana'sville. Okay, Prince Johnson. Okay, yes. People. Now Costa will be appearing, so we are getting ready. But Mr. Goodman.
Yes, but guess what? One of my neighbors, his name is Pete Costa. My neighbor, right about 10 minutes from here. He's the older brother of Pedro. I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't know that today. He said, yeah, that's my younger brother. So he told me to send him the link, and I'm about to send it to him. Yes, I didn't know Pete was Henry's older brother.
Oh, I think I met him before.
Mm-hmm. So let me send this to him. Let me send it to
Boy,
Pete.
please share the show. Please share the show. Please share the show. Please share the show, guys. I see the great Comrade Abu Escamara. Hey, man. Hey, they can attack my begin.
He know he's supposed to be on the other show, and he watching both shows because that's part of his job. That's part of his job description. If you work for the government, you gotta watch the other show, mandatory, or they will fire you. So I will come out on that show and on this show. Yeah.
Yeah, we try to use the time we have for Costa tonight to do our best. We'll try our best so we can get a lot of stuff done. But Mr. Gaiman, before Costa appear, what do you expect tonight? What do we expect? What some of the issues you think the Liberian people would love to hear for us to discuss tonight?
Well, listen, the Liberian people, as you can see, there will be questions. You know, the audience will be sending you questions to you, Chief, to ask. Obviously, you got to vet the question. You know, we always told the folks, we are not going to be, this is not a platform for derogatory remarks. If you come here to insult and disrespect, we'll block you. This is where you come to bring ideas. We're here to exchange ideas. We are not a platform to cuss mine and cussing mine and all that stuff. That's not what we're here for. So if you have legitimate concern, you got legitimate beef, send in your question and the chief is going to ask those questions. But we are not here to go through some of the things that you guys go through on other platforms. That it won't fly here. Yeah. But yes, you know, Costa is a brilliant debater. He won't run away from any debate. He can take on anybody. He can stand his own ground. He doesn't need anybody to defend him. But yet and still, we will ask the critical questions, and we will actually, do follow-up. We're going to make sure that he doesn't spin, because he's a very good spin doctor too. And we're going to make sure that he doesn't spin and that he doesn't split hair, which is, to blur between the line. We're not going to allow him to do that. But knowing the young man, I was on the platform with him before, very smart, very sharp, and direct. And I think he's going to be very, very honest from the bottom of his guts. He's going to tell us how he feels. And I don't see any deception in what he's going to do today because he's for real.
I mean, take it or leave it. Aaron Costa is a hustle knee. He will always be a hustle knee in our politics, and take it or leave it. He's someone who has paid his due, and he's highly respected. I mean, whoever you want to say it, but this man was able to cause the largest protest in our country's history. Largest protest was causing the country's history, and so he's the person who you were talking about tonight, and so there's no secret about that. He's someone who is well known across the country. So we just got to make sure that we make the Liberian people to know that we are going to give what they're asking for. Costa is not somebody who will shy away from any questions or anything. He's always prepared. He's informed. He always on top of his game. So,
I can attest to that because I was defending the former CDC government. And the man gave me a lot of heartaches with those bring back our billion, 16 billion, and June 7 and all that.
So now, yes. Oh, go ahead. Finish. Let me bring Costa back.
Yeah. So he gave a lot of us heart attack, maybe almost heart attack. So I understand where he's coming from, and he knows his stuff. And,
let us get started. It's almost about 9:30 in Liberia, 5:30 on the East Coast. We're now in present Henry Pedro Costa and Henry Pedro Costa, Chairman Costa. Good evening. I know you is in the night wherever you are, but good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you. We're good to have
Thank you.
But tell us, man,
Let me stand this sideways.
how's life with you, man? How's everything going at your end?
Well, we're grateful to God. We're grateful for life, and you know, so much to be grateful for. Thank you.
How's Simon Henry? I mean, as a young man, I haven't seen that man for a long time.
Yeah, that man he's 9 years old now. He's
Long time. Is it that how long? If I
he's
got
in
to
the
know,
third grade.
I know you before Henry was born because I remember, yeah, before he was born, I got to know you, so it might be a long time.
Yeah. But hey, man, Mr. Gay Man, how do you do, my brother Robert Garguah? Good to be here, guys. Thanks for the opportunity. It's always a pleasure and honor interacting with you, fine gentlemen.
Yes, I was at the Haitian. My wife is from the Caribbean. She's from Haiti. And on Sunday was the flag day, and we went to celebrate. And I met a gentleman there that I've been knowing for years. His name is Pete Costa. Pete Costa. He's my neighbor.
Okay.
He's my neighbor in Port St. Lucie. And I said that is a
In
very
Florida?
yes. We are neighbors.
That's my elder brother.
That's correct. Yeah, Pete and I
Yeah.
we are right here in Port St. Lucie. I'm right
And
on.
he's married to a Jamaican woman. So I
That's
see.
correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. We got a Caribbean thing going.
I like that.
Okay. Robert, your opening and Mr. Gayman opening, then we get to business.
Thank you. Look, it's always great having Heron on. People, of course, Heron Costa has been around for a very, very long time in the public space. Undoubtedly one of the most popular talk show hosts. You can't deny the fact that he is and remains a voice in Liberian political dispensation. And so it's always great interacting with him. It's always great listening to him, even if you do not agree with what he is saying, or even if you don't agree with his political position or his political choices. So it's an honor to be here. I just want to say we are many on the closing argument, so it's an honor to be a part of the panel to engage you, Heron. But it's going to be a fierce conversation. I got some really interesting questions for you, Heron. I think you've involved. Some might say you've involved. Others might say that you've given up. I have been contemplating on what your thought processes are with regards to the Liberian politics. And others are still saying that you shouldn't give up. Some might say the man's a family man and he needs to focus on his family decision. He's fought for Liberians, and Liberians have continued to make decisions that is opposite of what is best for them, right? So some sense of frustration. And I have a lot of questions to just get some clarity on where you are, what your thought process are. And so I look forward to a great conversation. I think that's my opening. Now, my opening is no question, right, Tomalin?
No, no question.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to miss anything. I got plenty of things here. So, Heron, great to see you, my friend.
Okay, yes, because of the time, our questions will be, short our questions so that we give time to answer the questions. People are watching us all over. I've gotten calls from all over the place, so people are watching. Everybody watching the show. So let's do our best. Mr. Gayman, your opening.
Yeah, Mr. Costa, welcome and great to be on the platform with you. I want to give you credit because hopefully when I said that you are the progenitor of talk shows before there were the Spoons, before there were the closing argument, everything else. You started the ball rolling in one small corner in Monrovia. I remember I came from a meeting with Ellen Johnson Saliva, and I'm going, and the whole street was quiet. I said, "What's going on?" I said, "They want troublemaker. They call Costa. They had him arrested and all that other stuff." So you've been giving people a heartache for a while, and then when I became the de facto of a defender of George Weah, that your June 17th gave me so much headache. I almost so thank you very much for what you have done, and it's a great time to be with you.
Okay, great. We'll get started. Costa, I will start with my question. We'll ask two questions, and then so Costa, do you fear potential consequences, either personally or professionally, if you were to speak out? How does that influence your decision, right? Process right now.
Well, thank you very much. Again, gentlemen, I want to say good evening, and I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. And I reluctantly accepted. My brother Tomalin, I've been trying to stay away from speaking, but I could not say no to him, and I could not say no to you guys. But trust me, I've been trying to stay away. But to answer your question, do I fear potential consequences if I spoke out?
Yeah.
I am not one who fears. I think that should be well established. For a very long time in this country, we braved the storm. We stood up when many did not, and we risked our lives. I mean, our lives, and we led many to risk their lives as well in the struggle. So the reason for my deliberate silence at this time is not out of fear for my own, out of fear of potential consequences or potential, retaliatory or retributive consequences. It's just that we've decided at this time we want to focus on building our business, creating economic opportunities, and that is what our focus is right now. It's not out of fear. We're not afraid of anybody. We're not afraid of speaking the truth. It's just that our priorities at this time are different. They are more economical, or they are more economics than they are politics.
Okay, my second question. Okay, this one I wrote it down. Charles Taylor left Liberia almost 22 years ago. Kids who were born that year would be 22 years old today. All they have seen in terms of governance are these two parties, the Unity Party and the CDC. You have advocated vigorously for these two parties in previous elections. COP staged, under your leadership, staged a successful protest in 2019, we are administration. Are you willing to apply that same zeal and energy if a viable third option comes up?
I've been burnt. I'm going to try to be as honest, as realistic as I can be with you guys tonight. I give too much, more than most people did. There is nobody in the Bouaka administration that gave as much or anywhere near what I gave. So am I prepared to throw myself in as passionately, as faithfully as I did before in somebody else's political interest? At this point where I said, I don't see myself ready. I'm not emotionally or psychologically prepared to again completely throw myself towards helping make somebody president. Not where I sit right now. No. There has to be a time in a man's life, Brother George, when you have to be strategically and deliberately selfish. You have to be concerned with yourself. Take, for example, the reason a lot of people knock on me or beat up on me, it's not because I went and somebody was paying me hundreds of thousands of dollars and I betrayed them. It's simply because I fell apart with a political movement that I was the face and voice of. And yet they consider that betrayal, even though in politics, you have the right to associate and disassociate. But why do you think people are so hard on Henry Costa? It's because I allowed myself to become the voice and the face of a political movement, and that comes with a lot of consequences. So am I prepared to go through that again? Right now, where I said, no, I am not prepared to go through that. I don't know the future. Things might change. I'm not saying I'm not coming back to politics, but am I prepared to become the face and the voice of somebody else's presidential campaign? Absolutely not. No, sir.
Okay, I mean, just push further before I go to Mr. Gilman. Okay, you have been very critical. You have like said earlier, you helped the CDC, you helped the UP, and the two parties have dominated our political space for the last 20 years. Now, I don't know whether you still want to see the two parties to still lead the country. So my question, my follow-up question is, I know it's still early. People say early in 2025, but by 2028 or so, will you have that? If you decide to get back in your political mood, will you support a third option? Do you see any possibility of supporting a third option where you have that zeal you used to make the case for CDC and UP at one point in time? Will you have that same zeal to support a third option in come 2020, 28 or 29?
Why should I do that? I give so much to help Joe Boakai become president. I know he cared for me, but there were many people in his inner circle who hated the ground I walked on, simply because he and I had a fantastic relationship. The situation with me and Unity Party had nothing to do with me and now President Boakai, but we had a fantastic relationship. But Tomalin, when you have a certain voice and certain influence with the leader, common people don't like it. They don't like it, no matter how invaluable the contributions you make are. They don't like it. Do I want to put myself through that again? Tomalin, there's just no way some people can be diminished. Some people, when they are part of an organization, they just loom larger than other people. It is a gift. There's just no way you can be in the back room. And with that comes a lot of hate, a lot of animosity. People lie on you. I don't know whether I'm mentally and emotionally prepared to become the face and the voice of somebody else's movement to become president. That is the honest answer. But I don't know the future. It could change, but not where I sit. Right now, the Henry Costa that's speaking to you is extremely selfish. It's extremely selfish. I'm thinking about my family, those who love me, those who I love. I care about the country. I want the country to do well, but I'm putting myself first for the first time in a long time. This is it. This is the truth. I'm thinking about my own economics, my own personal growth and development. So I'm focused on myself right now.
Mr. Gilman.
Yeah, Costa, we have. Hopefully, you can tell me whether you are discouraged, because I put you in a category of the Baco Matthews of the world, the Abba Potes of the world, the Tipotes of the world. These are people who fought the battle but never made it to the promised land. Is there any regret because you fought this fight? Not just a fight, but it was a good fight. You kept the faith, but you didn't reach the promised land.
That's a good question, Mr. Gilman. Well, I'm 42 years old. Bacchus did not attain his overarching ambition of becoming president, but you can't write off a 42-year-old man. I mean, for someone to write off a 42-year-old man, you have to be absolutely delusional. There were those who believed that Joe Boakai would never become president, and he became president at 79. It's the grace of God. So you can't write anybody off. So my story is still being written. There are many more chapters. You could say I'm in the middle of my life. That is, God willing, if I live to be 80. You know? Because look at what President Boakai became president at 80. So my story is still being written. But let's say I never become a political figure. But do you know what else I can accomplish in my life? I'm doing great in my life. There are other things that I can do in my life. I don't have to necessarily be a politician. It is my passion. I don't necessarily have to be. Now, to answer the other part of your question, do I feel like there was a part of me that was frustrated, that was going through agonizing pain to see what I fought for more than anybody else come to fruition, and that I was not a part of it to help shift and guide and help implement and execute the policy positions that I so eloquently, I think, articulated over the years. So that there was that part of me that felt that. For a long time, I dealt with that. And this is me being vulnerable. I'm not going to sit here and say it never bothered me, not just for the mere fact that I wanted to be in a government position, but I wanted to be in a position where I could influence the transformational change that I had preached for so long, that I stick my neck out on the line, preaching for so many years. But then I got to a point where, Mr. Gilman, I no longer feel that way. I no longer really care. I no longer feel that, oh, I miss it. I don't miss it. I've never held a government job, so I don't miss it. I still put bread on the table for my family. I'm still okay. I still have a decent life. I wish the government very well. I wish the president very well. I think he means very well. He's trying to do the best he can, but I don't miss it. And this is to those of you in the government. If you think that I miss it, that I wish I was in one of those positions, there was a time when I felt that I wanted to be, but I no longer feel that way. I feel very fulfilled where I find myself today.
Okay, my second question is, the new Liberia, you have a son, he's 9 years old, very critical period of his life. What kind of Liberia do you want to bequeath to your son, and how are you going to do that?
I want to bequeath to my son a Liberia where the rule of law works. A Liberia where when Party A wins, Party A should not be comparing itself to the previous party that was in power and saying, and you did that. I don't want a Liberia where we have moral equivalency. Oh yeah, and you did it too. So it's our time. I want you to raise the bar. Raise the bar of governance, raise the bar for the rule of law, raise the bar of economic transformation. That is the kind of Liberia that I want to see come about. That's the kind of Liberia I want. And that's the Liberia that I still want to fight for. And that's the Liberia that I believe is possible.
Robert.
There you go.
Thank you. Kosa, great seeing you again. By the way, I just want to put this disclosure out there. Costa I consider him to be a friend and brother. And we have not always agreed, but I believe strongly that he's a great person. He's a great father, great family man. And he's a great guy. I think he loves his country. Now let's get to the issue here, the question. A bitter few saw you switch allegiance to former President Weah, July of 2023. And that switch shocked the nation. And it shocked the nation for many good reasons, because prior to that, no one anticipated that you would ever, not necessarily have a glass of wine with the former president, have dinner with the former president. Those things I probably would have expected. But no one, the nation, the world did not anticipate that Henry Costa, prior to July 2023, whoever think of endorsing President Weah. You did not think George Weah did enough for re-election. Some have questioned your decisions, your political decisions. They've called it contradictions and alleged acts of blackmail. They have, you said that in that switch, that Joseph Boakai lacked loyalty. You questioned his health and fitness for president. And rightfully so, because I believe that you single-handedly, and many did not concur with me, but I think you single-handedly resuscitated Joseph Boakai's political campaign. And I watched firsthand what you did to ensure his accommodation his comfort, and so forth and so on. So from a personal level, not a political level, I understood the frustration. But from a political level, all of the decisions you've made, I want you to answer this question. When you talked about someone lacking principle, loyalty, and all of those things, many have questioned all of the different contradictions that you've made. They've questioned whether or not you have a specific principle commitment to a specific political ideology. They also question, the interest behind all of these switched. So here's my question to you. Are you, or would you, or do you think it's a fair statement when many Liberians who look up to you, especially young Liberians, do you think you are a cautionary tale for Liberian youth interested in politics?
Robert, people get married. They pick a spouse. They get married to that spouse. They have children. They live together for decades and decades or years and years, and they divorce that spouse. Or the spouse divorces them, and they go their separate ways. People join the political movement. They support it. They do everything they can. And one day they get up and they leave. Take the deputy speaker today. Today he's affiliating with the Unity Party government. Take the current vice president, Jeremiah Kuhn. He was not always with Unity Party. But you know why? Why do people make such a big noise about Henry? When it comes to Henry Costa making a political decision to leave one camp for another camp, then they board us on integrity? What sense does that make? It's silly. Now, why I admit that it is silly, or why I say that it is silly, I will also admit that on my part, I acknowledge that the decision to go with my party to the CDC was not my own decision. I did not want to go to the CDC. I publicly said it. I'm not a fan of the CDC. I went to the CDC because I followed my political party. And I think it was a mistake. Yeah, I've acknowledged it. I should have sat the election out. You see, people have to understand this. My party is an institution, but I'm Henry Costa with people who looked up to me, who don't care whatever my party does, they do not care. There are people who supported me who are not members of my party. I'm not saying I'm bigger than my party, but only a fool would not acknowledge that Henry Costa's following ranged much greater beyond his party. So when I made a decision to go with my party, was a mistake that I made. I should have started out, because you see, people don't talk much about my party going to CDC. You know what they talk about? Henry Costa. And I hope I don't sound arrogant, but it is the truth. I'm sure you guys can bear me witness. People don't really talk about ALP going to CDC. They say Henry Costa. So they beat on me more than they beat on my party. You know why? Because I was the voice and the face of the Boakai movement. So the people that I rallied to the Boakai cause have every right to be mad at me for abandoning them at the 11th hour. I'm not proud of that decision or that action, because it was not my decision. I followed my party. I was trying to be party disciplined, Robert. But let's not border it on integrity. All the people who crisscross political parties here, you say they don't have integrity? In the US where you are, Robert, people they leave the Democratic Party today, they join the Republican Party. It happens all over the world. So when it comes to me, then it's different. So then it's about integrity. It had nothing to do with integrity. It was Henry Costa simply following his party to join the CDC. And I should not have done it. I can publicly say, yeah, I should not have followed my party. Because you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? My support base is greater than my party membership or the rank and file of my party. That is the truth. And I see it now more so now than I even imagined it to be. Because people beat on me. They don't beat on my party.
So let let me push back before I ask my second question. Let me push back a little bit. And you know what? And even if you don't agree with Henry Costa, I think that you are indeed. I think you've done. Henry Costa is a brand all by himself, and I think you've been a voice bigger than the ALP. So I concur with that. But that's another part of this issue, and I think that you talked about people switch parties all the time. I think the difference with Republicans or Democrats voting for the opposite individual, it's not that they're leaving their party ideas, but it's that they don't think that the party representation at that moment fits the party's idea, right? We saw what happened in 2007 when some Republicans opted to vote for President Obama. We get that, right? But there are those who have said that the switch of allegiances is based on political convenience of the moment. And I want to give you the opportunity just to follow up a little bit. You regret the decision to follow your party to support former President Weah. I want you to answer this. I want you to answer this question honestly as you possibly can. Would you have this opinion in this moment had President Weah and the CDC won re-election?
No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have. Well, you want me to sit here and lie to you and say if I support a side and then the side wins, why would I regret? Look, Robert, when you make a decision, Robert, when you make a decision, whether that decision was your decision originally or not, or a decision that was made for you and you played along or follow along. Ultimately, Shakespeare said this: all is well that ends well. If CDC had won, maybe I would not have regretted, but CDC was not my choice. Look, I left the Joe Buckeye bandwagon in March, well, in April. I didn't join CDC until October 28th. May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months later before I joined the CDC bandwagon. Now, people, those who try to make it about, okay, Costa went there because of money. Do you think money was not being offered from the very beginning? CDC engaged me directly. I refused to go. Then CDC went and engaged my party. That is what happened. CDC wanted me to go ever since. The moment I left Joe Buckeye, CDC wanted me on their side. But I did not go. I did not go in May, in June, in July, in August, in September. It was late October before I went along with my party. So people have to understand yet. I did not go for my own interest. I went with my party. And I admit, Robert, that I should not have gone with my party. Because I get beat up on more than my party. And the people who beat up on me, they are right. Because I was their voice. I was their face. It was not my party. My party was not their voice and their face. It was Henry Costa. And so they have every right to hold me to account. I was the commanding general. I led the men and women on the front line, and I abandoned them in the 11th hour. At least what they expected me to do since I left the Buckeye bandwagon was to stay neutral. And Robert, no matter how many times or how many ways you ask me this question, I'm not going to change my answer. The honest answer is I was wrong for following my party to CDC. Thank you.
My second and last question, I think Gailman asked you what kind of Liberia you would like to see for your son. And I couldn't have agreed more with you with your answer when you said a Liberia where the rule of law works, a Liberia where the bar for economic transformation is set at the highest level. Joseph Boakai came to power under the expectation that they would transform the economy by rescuing the economy. They also said that a rule of law would be an integral part of the arrest agenda, right? You've watched what has happened on Capitol Hill for the past few months. You also watch the decisions made by the executive branch of government. They've ignored the Supreme Court ruling on 2 occasions. The rule of law does not seem to be the order of the day in Liberia. Today, the exchange rate is at 200 per $1, something that many of our friends were outraged of during the Weah administration. Do you think that the current Liberia as it is, with regards to the economy and the rule of law, is a Liberia that you would encourage your son to be a part of at this moment?
Well, I intend to bring my son here when school closes this year. So he's coming to visit. He hasn't been here for years. And I've spent, since 2024, I spent most of my time in Liberia because of what I'm engaged here with. And I feel safe, Robert. I'm going to be honest with you. There's nobody bothering me. I'm pursuing my business interests. And I have no obstacles. Nobody in the government is trying to harass me because I left the Unity Party in the 11th hour. I made my position on the crisis in the House of Representatives very, very clear. And I was not pleased with what I saw happening there. And I made my position very, very clear. And I'm glad that it has been resolved. We now have a legitimate speaker. He was elected by his colleagues, and we move on. And I'm glad that the nation can now move on from that unfortunate incident, which really, was a big a nuisance for the president and the administration because they couldn't get a lot of things done. They were distracted by the crisis, and it was unfair, I believe, to the president. Because the president didn't start it. I will tell you this, Joe Boakai did not initiate or did not support Kofa's removal. There were some decisions that were made that they felt were politically expedient, but he was not a part of it. He was not. He told me and I believed him. He told me and I believed him. But in the end, he made a decision based on practicality. How can we drive through our legislative agenda if Kofa does not have the majority? And they fell back on historical precedents. They went back to, in the case of Alex Tyler, in the case of Edwin Snow, but it was unfortunate. But now we have a new speaker and we move on, but I'm not going to tell anybody to not come to Liberia, to not come and do business here, or to stay away. Look, people aren't getting murdered here for their political views. I don't see any persecution. I see people here are critical. I'm no longer active, but others are very active and very, very critical. And there's nobody bothering them. My radio station got shut down by the CDC administration, but I haven't seen any radio station get shut down. And I see people say a lot of things. I see the government fighting to defend itself. It is encouraging. I see all my former political, comrades on the resuscitated their platform to articulate the government's, what the government is doing, and it's commendable. Rather than shutting radio stations down that criticize them, they're not doing that. They're putting their own show on to articulate the government's. That's healthy. So things are different. Yeah.
Thank you.
Pewee.
Back to you guys. Yeah.
Thank you. Let me say a very wonderful good evening to you, Pedro. Glad to have you on the show today. We are all happy to see you here. But I'm going to take my my question back a little bit. I will go a little bit back in the days. But before I ask the question, this question is going to revolve around tradition. I noticed recently you visited, I think, your maternal grandmother a couple of weeks ago, and you posted that, and it was good to visit the old people. So the question is going to revolve around traditions, friendship versus loyalty. So I will take you back to, because I can recall myself here, I'm a victim of those kind of circumstances also. But I will take you back before you started on Hot FM and you came to the Costa show. There was a time that you attacked past government officials and even some Congress, like Amara Kone, James Corley, the late Professor Somo Kupi, and myself, concerning you alleged at the time that $500,000, $500,000 was stolen in Senator Kupi's home, or he took $500,000 and he didn't give me somebody around your old vehicle. You took almost 2-3 hours, he said, but it's not personal to me. I just wanted to find out that's something I'm headed to. I'm trying to find out from you before coming off some of this information. Is it basically meant as a propaganda tool to just hit people, or you say those things from an evidence-based process? Because you hit Somo Kupi, for instance, that he stole $500,000 just from your Broad Street office with no clue of evidence whatsoever, and you link that to me also, right? That we are his protege and rest of that, we have an issue, but he stole the $500,000 with Ryan message vehicle and the rest of that. Then back to the Amara Conan issue about the same radio station thing, and you hitting hard, you even linking to having extra this and extra that. Then I will bring you back quickly to the recent time when you came out and said this current vice president we have was involved in selling human parts. Human parts. Beyond that, and you just said to us just now that you did not join the CDC in the runoff election via your own volition, but rather you followed the lead of your party. Was it your party also that pushed you to say things about the former vice president and now president, linking to his medical record and other things? So my point here is most of those things that you come up with sometimes, it is out of anger or is out of evidence? I just want you to tell us today, because you tell you 42, we know we build friendship. That's why I talk about tradition, I talk about loyalty, and talk about friendship. Are those things evidence-based or just based on anger that you just want to voice out?
Well, thank you, Brother Pewee. Here's the thing. The story about the late former Senator Somo Kupi, peace to his ashes, and at the time he was actually the managing director of LPRC. It wasn't even broken by me. I didn't break that story. The story was that a housekeeper, somebody who worked in his house, a domestic servant, made away with $500,000 in cash that the then LPRC managing director had in his home. That story was broken when supposedly Somo Kupi had the person arrested or had notified the police about the person, making away with that money. I didn't break the story. So just so you know, let me clarify that. Now, you are.
But never follow up. I had called on your show. And that's why the problem came up. That's why you linked me. I had called your show to give you a major.
I don't exactly remember. It was many years ago.
To clarify,
I don't vividly recall all the little gory details.
It was far from the reality at the time, but the police did the investigation and other things. But we're just calling the gate class. But there was no 500,000.
But there you go. You are acknowledging that it did get reported to the police. You
broke the issue about 500,000. No one reported 500,000.
Okay, but then what was reported? Was there no report made to the police?
7,000 gas slip, 7,000 worth of gas slip got stolen from his home, and that was true. Along with his wash.
You see, something did get stolen, and the report was found. Good. Now that you've established that, everything else you say now is subject to debate.
No,
so let's leave that.
Didn't get.
Let's not be argumentative. Let's proceed.
We can go ahead. Go ahead.
But to answer the other point that you made. Yeah. When we, for example, during the CDC administration, we broke some of the biggest stories here. For example, when Samuel Pewee went into the donors' accounts and took out their money and called it borrowing initiative, we were the ones that broke that story, and the whole country was talking about it. We published a diplomatic note that was written to Samuel Pewee requesting that he refunds those accounts with the funds that he took out. We broke many stories and provided evidence, tons of evidence. We broke the story that Emma Glasgow, who was recently removed by President Boakai as head of NAFA, had gone to Senegal and entered a deal to bring 200 Senegalese fishing vessels to fish in our waters after they had depleted their own natural fish stock. We broke that story and produced the evidence. I can go on and list you a preponderance of evidentiary material that we released over the years to prop up the stories that we broke. So if you are trying, and I think you're doing so in futility, to subject the things we said to the argument that we were saying things that were not based on, and in fact, I think you are not going to be successful, because the way we became very powerful and very influential on the Coastal Show, and we have such a powerful following, is because we earned a reputation for breaking stories with evidence, in most cases, that eventually turned out to be true. So my brother, just leave that. Let's not do the commentary after the fact.
No, Costa, we're not doing commentary after the tax. What I'm trying to bring here, I think you are guest today on this show, and we're trying to go back and we go deep into the process of integrity, the process of accepting record. Listen, I'm not trying to dig beyond and go after and to go bring old wounds out. What I'm trying to say to you moving forward, because yes, what I'm saying is, you spoke fearlessly and lambasted certain elements that is currently in high-profile position in government.
True.
Quite recently, you did a commentary.
True.
Now you did a commentary trying to pin those people that you lambasted heavily to be good. Now, is it that you're trying to ingratiate yourself now with them now moving forward, or what you said before was just based on anger and not on the facts? That's what I'm trying to just ask you. Now, for instance, the current vice president of our country, you said
Yes, second question here, right?
No, that's not. That's the first. I will go to my.
We're out of time. Let us,
Pewee, the current vice president of the country and I had a falling out. I mean, we had a fight, or I started the fight. And I said some things about him that I came back later and I apologized long before he became vice president.
Were they factual?
Listen,
what you
I
said,
came back.
Were they factual?
I made a statement that was an innuendo. And I came back and I cleared it up and I said I apologized. Okay. The current vice president of the country and I are not fighting. And if you try to paint the picture that I'm trying to ingratiate myself, I don't want a government job. I do not want it. If President Walker were to appoint me today in his government, I will publicly decline. I do not want a government job. I don't want to work for the government. No, I do not. So I don't need any job from the president.
Do you want to?
No, guys, please, guys.
I don't want a government job.
Okay. I'll go to my second question quick. Too many seems to be. I don't have time to ask a question, and maybe probably.
No,
I'll go to the second. I'll go to the second question.
I do not want a government job.
Listen. Okay.
I'm looking for money. Look, let me tell you why I don't want a government job. Several reasons, but the primary reason is that government job will not pay me well enough.
Do you want a government
the kind of money that I want? I can't make it in the government.
Do you want a government
unless I steal like some people do. So I don't want a government job because I want to make money. There is no money in government except you steal.
Do you have any money to do?
Yes, I do. I'm doing mining.
I'm trying to.
Yes.
Is the government?
I have licenses. I'm doing mining, and I'm a Liberian citizen. And guess what? And the government did not do me a favor. I'm a Liberian. I'm entitled, and I'm entitled to it. I didn't go and beg anybody for it. In fact, I didn't even go to the president to ask him to give me mining licenses. No, they issued me mining licenses. I have mining licenses currently being processed, and the government is very professional in handling that. No politics has influenced anything whatsoever. The government is not stopping me from doing it, and I'm not begging because I'm a Liberian citizen.
Yeah, this will be my last question then, because Georgie, the host is pushing me to ask my question. And
no,
so let me put it long. When did you apply for this money license that you currently have with you?
Is this what my money license is?
No, but I just want to know, when did you apply for this license?
I have several mining licenses.
And when was this granted to you by the government?
I'm not going into the details of that. No, that's my private business.
The reason I'm saying this, we have, I've just received this message from one of my colleagues. It said, comrade, we have more than 19 different Liberian groups that apply for mining lessons in the very era Costa is operating. They didn't give it to us. They let us down. They didn't do it. Costa applied in less than 10 days. he received his lesson. So the one of the reason why I'm saying this to you in the
Can
very
you
area you are
imagine
already
that?
operating. How you say?
How childish.
They got their
That
business
question there, you ask the minister of Lands and Mine, not Costa.
Go ask the Minister of Lands
you
and
know
Mine.
the reason why I'm asking this question? I'm asking this question because of the pattern. You know, there's a pattern here. And I'm saying here, is it that to try to ease the tension a little bit to ingratiate itself? I ask a particular question first to come in, say all the government, and then do things.
I chose to do business, and I'm involved with mining. That's it. Look. Let me tell you something. Let me make this clear. I have not received any special favors.
Okay.
No special favors. I go through the exact same process like everybody else. If a mining claim is available, I apply for it, and they process it in a very professional manner, and I get it. There is nowhere that I have gotten that the government, that other Liberians wanted that they did not get. In fact, the only people I have wrestled with for mining claims are Chinese, not Liberians. Chinese. And I can tell you this much, the government has been very pro-Liberian. And so I have not had any fight with any Liberian over a mining claim. The only fight I've had was with Chinese.
Fair enough.
So except the information your friends are giving you maybe is about Chinese, it's not about Liberians.
Fair enough, fair enough. And so before I drop it in a few seconds, what from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, what can you grade?
Okay, with that your fourth question here now.
Okay, let me rest. I will draw this question. Go ahead, Tumani.
There you go.
No, I will draw my question. Go ahead, Tumani. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, please. We have to have a very interactive engagement. We shouldn't be not. We're not going to be confrontational with our guests, please. And that limit our questions. Very short question. When you get a long previous question, the time is ticking. I was trying to say. But let me progress.
Fair enough. And for the record, I didn't come to be confrontational. Please don't.
Oh no, I don't think you were.
Yeah, because as a comrade,
I don't think you were confrontational.
Yes,
let me progress, please.
Yeah.
Mr. Costa, we'll continue our discussion. What is the assessment of the current political climate in the country, and then also, do you think this government is living up to its campaign promises?
I think the government, in certain areas, I believe that they are trying to live up to their campaign promises. Look, guys, the government is still in its infancy. Brother Pewee asked, just so you know, I'm not going to pretend that I didn't hear your question. On a scale of 1 to 10, what can I grade the government? I think you have to be mindful and considerate of the fact that the government has only been in power for a year and a half. So it's not like the government is midway. They still have a lot of time. I think there have been some missteps. I think a lot more could have been done that are yet to be done. I think when it comes to the issue of accountability, I've publicly spoken to this. I think the government holds its own people to account, then it holds members of the previous administration to account. I've blasted the Minister of Justice. I think he and his team, I think the president needs to shake them up. The LACC is pretty slow. And it's one of the things that this government campaign on. And I think they're not doing very well there. Yes, I will be very honest with you. I think one of the things the government needs to focus on is they need to try to bring investments. Since they came to power, it's been a year and a half, and there has been no real serious investments to come to this country. They have to focus on that. People need jobs. These are things the president himself has publicly acknowledged. And I think they need to do something there. Look, the government is building roads. I go to Bapulu County where my mining operation is. It used to take me 5 hours to get there. Now it takes me 3 hours to get there. They've reduced the commute time by 2 hours. That's huge, right? So they're building roads, and I'm hearing these stories right across the country. I heard both senators now from Grand Jide are saying it used to take 3 days during the rainy season to get to Zwedru. Now it's taking them 7 to 8 hours to get to Zwedru. So these stories, but they need to also focus on attracting serious investors and creating economic opportunity, jobs, putting people to work, But I think on a large scale, this government is doing well, but they can do much better. I'm pleased with what's happening. the reforms that are happening at the National Port Authority by my own dear friend, Sekou Dukle. I'm very impressed with what my friend Mo Ali is doing, expanding water services. I'm impressed with the LEC. I live in the country. I can tell you guys. You know, I used to have to put my generator on intermittently almost every day. But now I no longer have to do that because electricity is becoming reliable. Now we have to get to the point where we start talking about reducing the cost, because we cannot be paying 35 cents per kilowatt hour in a dirt poor country when we pay 8-9 cents per kilowatt hour in the United States, for example. But that is not a problem this government created. But that problem can be solved when you increase power generation over time. So I think they're doing some good things in a few areas, and there are some mistakes that are being made, which is expected.
Okay, corruption remains a major concern in the country, and there have been a lot of stories, issues, of reports of corruption in the country. How do you think this government is? What's your views about this government handling the issue of corruption? For instance, I know the president has made some suspension and so forth with few officials of his government who were involved in corruption, but people are saying they're being selective with some of these suspension, the actions he's taking. But like right now, the issue have been raised about for instance, Mo Ali, the water plant he just prepared, he just constructed. People are I saw a video where the people are saying they are not benefiting. The water is not coming from the pump.
That's not true. I was recently in Bopolu on my way to my project. The water works. It's a lie. So it works.
I saw a video where the guy was saying that the water, they did it the wrong place.
That is a lie. It works.
Okay. So
I witnessed it myself.
How is effective is of the opposition? How do you think they are holding the government accountable? The opposition right now, how effective are they holding the government accountable?
The opposition, you know, look, CDC, they're an unsophisticated bunch. And just so you know, CDC will not like me. You know what CDC wanted me to do? They wanted me to remain with them. When I wasn't really with them, they're angry. When you see a lot of citizens will be attacking me because two things they wanted. Either Costa stays with us and blast the government for us, which is never going to happen. I didn't steal your millions with you. Why the hell should I talk for you? I'm not going to do that. I'm no fool. You guys, George, we are flying private jet all over the place. When we know before he became president, they didn't have that. He got condominiums all over. But I didn't steal money with you. I'm not Tué. I'm not McGill. Why should you expect me to blast the government for you? I will not do propaganda for the government. I will not lie for the government, but I will also, particularly, not fight for CDC. CDC is an unsophisticated bunch. So they are not good in opposition. They are not good in governance either. So it's up to them. Unity Party is having it easier than CDC had it. Because when we were in opposition, because I no longer consider myself to be in opposition, I am now with the government, but I'm now also against the government. And I support the president.
But you are a friend to the government.
Oh, yes, I am a friend to the government. The president is my uncle.
Yeah.
We have a personal relationship.
Yeah.
Yes. And when I have issues, I go to him. I express my concerns to him. I take them directly to him. Yeah. But there are things I will publicly speak to. And there is no friction whatsoever. The president does not take offense. Unlike George Weah, where you got to prostrate and worship him or kiss his feet. You don't have to do that with Joe Boakai. So it's easy to maintain a great relationship with him. But CDC, they are not a sophisticated opposition, period. And I wish them luck. That's their business, but I'm not part of that.
Mr. Gaiman.
Yes. Let's look at the legislative process. Let's look at the legislature. You saw, you admitted yourself that it was the situation in the country was total an embarrassment to the country. Let's discuss the legislative body. Let's look at the entire legislature, and your own honest assessment. I know you are a friend to the government, but let's be honest here. Give me your assessment of the legislature and their function for the past 18 months.
I always held the legislature in very low esteem. They are largely unsophisticated people who are obsessed with making money, cutting deals, rather than focusing on the national agenda. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think the legislature is all out for supporting the executive to do what they are doing. It's all about what they can get. It's a place where people go and just try to push their own agenda, and so the fact that these guys were distracted, they caused this internal crisis that basically held the country hostage for almost a year. Says a lot about them. They don't care. So I hold them in very low esteem, extremely low esteem. Very.
Okay. Yeah, my second question that would be, let's look at the economic factors here. You say you meet with the president regularly or as need be, and when he's available, he will talk to you. What are some of the economic issues or solutions that you find to be urgent that this president needs to address? If not, because like you say, if over 60% of the population is of working age, young people under the age of 30, and according to Martin Colley, the unemployment is close to 92%. What is it that you will tell the president, and how long, what time will you give him that, listen, we need deliverables, and there has to be a timeline or you're in trouble?
Well, the president himself has acknowledged it. 2 cabinet meetings ago, he said, if we don't find jobs or create jobs for these young people, we are going to be in trouble. And this is a crisis, an economic crisis that this country has beset this country for a long time. It is a perennial problem. It was not created by this administration. It was not even created by the last administration. But what makes it their problem is that when you are in power, the problems you inherit become your problems. You have to work hard to fix those problems, to take deep stabs at those problems, to put a big dent in it. And that's what they need to do. And so I hope they can fix it, because they need to create jobs. It's a serious thing. People don't have jobs. And we can't live like that. We can't say government should only build a few roads and do a few infrastructure projects, and then that's it. Government needs to create economic opportunities for the citizenry. And it's not just this government, it's every government. And so I want to see the economic management team focus more on that, on attracting serious investments that can create jobs, sustainable jobs, jobs that pay living wages. Yeah.
Excellent. Real quick on this one here, the Liberian people have been struggling, and from time immemorial, their only access to the outside world is the freedom of the press. But since the inception of this government, for some reason, the fourth estate is totally absent. During your heydays, during your time in opposition, the media was the Liberian people way out. As it stands, there is no media that we can talk about other than, the few headlines here and there. What's going on? How will you critique or evaluate the media, the press?
Look, let's be honest. George Weah had to deal with Henry Costa. Unity Party does not have to deal with Henry Costa. But Unity Party is still dealing with other media institutions. Class Reloaded, for example. Now, you guys are not radical or extreme. You guys also ask hard questions. You discuss very important issues. You have healthy conversations, intelligent conversations. I follow you guys from time to time. So I think people still have the opportunity. People are still speaking. The media is healthy. There's a very vibrant media environment. Radio stations that are still doing their phone-in radio shows, and newspapers are still churning out the newspapers, even though a lot of people don't buy and read those newspapers. But the media space is still very vibrant, you know. But what they don't have a Henry Costa who did not only do broadcasting, but was an opposition figure on the most listened to and most powerful talk show. UP doesn't have to deal with that. You see? So maybe that's why you think, Mr. Gayman, that the media is not vibrant, but it is vibrant. But it's just absent one person. It's just me. It's just Henry Costa who is not active. But all of you great guys are doing wonderful things. So I respectfully disagree with you that the media space is no longer vibrant. It still is. It has Martin Cully, it has Spoon Talk, it has the closing argument, it's got other talk radio shows, but it doesn't have Henry Costa. And a lot of people want me to come back, but I'm not coming back as a radio host. That phase of my life is over. I'm not doing that. So it's got you guys, but it doesn't have me. I'm the only thing that's missing. That's never coming back.
Real quick before I turn it over to Mr. George here, I was going through the talk show and another talk show who said about the closing argument that the news makers have now gathered and now they become the news reporters. They make the news and then they're now interpreting the news. Isn't that a conflict or a deception?
But ask the question again.
We are talking about the newsmakers, the government officials.
Yeah.
Are now the news reporters. They make their mistakes, then they go and then report it and spin it and explain it. Isn't that a contradiction and an indictment on the free press?
Class
Reloaded, yeah, being the newsmaker and the news reporters.
It's started to rain heavily, yeah.
Oh,
so my phone is not very loud. I'm trying to see whether I can hear you, but if I heard your question correctly, were you talking about the class reloaded?
That's correct. Class Reloaded being the newsmakers and the news reporter. They make the rules, they break the rules, then they come and explain it. Isn't that being deceptive?
Freedom of speech. There's nothing that prohibits them from being senator like Delon and Mo Ali, managing director, and all the other people on the show. There's nothing wrong with them being talk show hosts in the evening, as long as it does not interfere with their daily jobs and fiduciary responsibilities, in the morning till the afternoon. That, they are taking the initiative they feel that their government, that the narrative is being detected by people such as yourselves, and they're trying to counter that. I think that is indicative of the healthy media space that we're seeing. So I don't see any problem with what they are doing. I think if anything, you should be, you should be proud of yourselves because you drag the honorable senator to a talk show every evening. You drag the managing director to a talk show every evening, and you're bringing government officials to a talk show. So if anything, you should celebrate it as a win for you guys because you got them to come out to talk. So I think it's a big thing.
Wow. Chief,
Robert.
actually,
Thank you. Listen,
I hope the ring let the ring give at least 30 more minutes before it's
yeah, man. I hope. But why did they choose the ring why they chose the ring today?
But you ring
Yesterday,
you want to ring on our parade.
I would tell Costa the money company need to get Starlink, man. You need Starlink, come on the farm, the agent of money site, and Starlink should be with this with the CEO.
I hope he comes back.
No, he doesn't want to give. He doesn't want to get it near his business.
I hope he comes back because we have a lot.
No.
The point I get a bullet lesson that I'm going to pay.
You don't want to get him back. I said Starlink should be on top of that plate at least.
I'm talking about the question you're asking.
Yeah. The question I'm asking.
No, listen now.
Okay, he's back.
There you go.
You need Starlink. The business needs Starlink. When you're on the mining site, you need Starlink.
We have Starlink, but apparently the weather affects it. I have Starlink.
Oh,
But
okay.
we praying that the weather gave us.
Actually.
The weather, we are hoping the weather gave
Buffalo,
us. at
where
least
you
about
said we're
30
trying
more.
to take the mining claims for other Liberians.
Yeah, we are hoping that the weather gave us at least 30 more. Big.
Now go ahead.
All right. So, Heron, I'm hoping that the weather can give us at least 30 more minutes with you.
But you're eating your own time now. Go ahead. Why
Yeah,
is good?
that's what I'm trying now. Wait now, but I can't just throw the question out there like that. Heron,
Okay.
can you hear us? Can you hear me?
I think you're good now. You can go ahead.
Okay, Heron, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. So we're praying that the rain give us 30 more minutes with you, please. Heron, listen, I gotta be honest. People like you, they don't like you. I always tell people, Heron is Heron, and Heron has played his part. I have no fault whatsoever with you focusing on rebuilding the Heron Coastals brand with a focus on business and making money, as opposed to a cause for Liberians. I have absolutely no problem with that, because when you continue to fight for certain people, and those very people are not fighting for themselves, then that means they don't need to be fought for. So I have no quarrel with you whatsoever, focusing on what you're doing. But I want us to have an honest conversation. This government frowned on and criticized the former president for flying private jet. They said that the president was insensitive to the suffering of Liberians for flying private jets. In fact, Abraham Darrow Dillon criticized the president for that when the economy was in shambles. And what did Joseph Boakai do? Joseph Boakai came back and has flown private jets on 95% of his trip. This president and the Unity Party frowned on tenure position. They said President Weah violated the Constitution and the laws on the establishment of tenure position. What did Joseph Boakai do? He came into office and he appointed folks in tenure position. And the Supreme Court had to rule that his appointment and or nomination in these positions were unconstitutional. Concessions agreements. This president and Unity Party frowned on some of the most bogus concession agreements ever in the Republic of Liberia under the Weah administration. Today, almost 15 months into the administration, they have not overturned or reversed any concession agreement whatsoever. This government frowned on harmonization policy. In fact, the law that went through it and said that it was the Weah's administration policy when in fact it was recommended by our partners. Today, almost 15, 16 months into this administration, they have not touched harmonization. This administration said it was a bad idea for the government to have free tuition.
Oh my God.
The LEC gone.
The LEC gone.
Yeah, Raul, now you got to stop this question with a good time.
No,
the heavy storm does that, guys. Don't.
Yeah, but I cannot come myself.
Sorry, guys.
The question got too long, Raul. You got to find the way that you're going to say it. You're on time.
I will have them put the generator on.
Okay.
But do you still hear us?
Every time you press LEC, this thing happen. Another guy was on the show the other day.
The question shut it down.
But Tomalin, we gotta let the premise now.
Yeah, but the question is too long, brother. Let me frank.
Okay.
Everybody complaining says
his connection really bad.
The connection is bad.
Let him leave and come back in.
Yeah, Henry, I think you gotta. I think he has to wait and come back. Come on.
It's actually the heavy storm affects the kid.
If it is actually raining heavily, we're going to have some problem with him because the storm going to affect the cable. The storm will really affect the cable.
Guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the generator on.
Okay.
But it's not LEC, it's actually the power lines because of the heavy storm.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's understandable. That's understandable. Can you
Yeah,
hear
but
us?
go
Can you hear us?
go ahead, Robert. You asking a question. Have you
Yeah. So
have you
here is
landed?
my question. So here
Can
is my
you?
question.
Can he hear you?
Every single thing that this government criticized President Weah for which they came to rescue, they either have not changed or they've indulged. They've done the same thing or even worse, right? So when you say that the government is doing well, I want you to expand a little bit. When you say the government, the economy is not doing well. I mean, the rule of law is not where it's supposed to be. And I like the fact that you admitted to it, that there's some improvement needs to be done. So specifically, LEC, yes, since the appointment of the new LEC chairman, LEC has been a little stable than normal. But in areas that it really matters, the bread and butter areas, don't you think that this government has failed miserably when it comes to everything that they promised? I mean, private sector investors have not come to the country. Government remains the highest employer. They continue to expand government. So where exactly are they doing well when it comes to the bread and butter issues?
Mrs. Rock. Oh.
Yeah, the LC is. Yeah,
Guys,
we
I'm
gotta
sorry,
wait.
but I can't
Yeah, I know.
I
I
can't
know.
hear you guys. The weather is very
Yeah,
bad. It's pouring cats and dogs. It's
yeah, I know. I know. I know. Yeah. Of all the days they chose to
Monday,
rain.
if this way, we can reschedule Monday probably.
Yeah, but Heron, by a lot of you have to come back. If we
We
can
can do
get a
Can we have
generator
you
on, you
Monday
have to come back.
if you have the time Monday?
Are they putting the generator on?
let me
The generator will
let
not
me try
help
to
the storm.
call in.
Mr. George, can you reschedule?
No, he said he want to call in direct on the phone.
Okay.
But the good thing will be when you reschedule. What can they reschedule?
Yeah, because we want to see the man face. The man cannot just call in.
You can
Pedro,
hear
want to with a reschedule so you can come another day so that we. Would that be okay?
But let him try to call in, and then we can still reschedule.
You can hear the noise of the rain in the background.
Yeah,
The
yeah, you
storm,
can.
man. The storm is heavy. I hear in the storm.
Tomalin, they're gonna interview them. You can't just let it. There's plenty of things to talk about.
Probably your question get the law.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the post I can get forget what the question.
Oh, we're trying to condense the question into one.
No, but
Because
you ask the
can't
question
ask all the
anyway.
questions.
Because you
Well, so that's you don't want to start the whole thing yet. You
No,
talk
my
15
question was never
minutes.
long.
No, come on,
You
man.
asked me one question for 7 minutes.
And Pee Wee question was 6.5 minutes.
No,
Okay, Heron. Okay,
Yeah.
but Heron, I hope you can still reschedule to come back because there's nothing like the facial appearance than the phone appearance. But listen,
The body language, right?
yeah, because we enjoy
brother.
when you're actually on and the audience want to see you. But listen, all of the issues we talk about, the government front on Turner position being violated by the former president. They've done exactly that. The president Guar has appointed and nominated folks in Turner position. In fact, they've made deals like in the case of the central bank governance that does not benefit the Liberian people. They frown on the use of private jets. The president has flown more private jet than in less than 15 months than George Weah did in 6 years. Concession agreements were frowned on. Not a single one of those concession agreements have been reversed or rectified. Harmonization policy, in fact, was an integral part of this government campaign promises that this government had no idea what they were doing. All of what they criticized that they came to rescue, they've done worse. So when you talked about, LSE is doing pretty well than normal. Some people might question the fact that it's rainy season and things like that. But when you said that they're doing well, specifically, how are they doing well when it comes to the bread and butter issues?
That's a good question, but you were very wrong when you said Walker has flown more private jet than George Weah. That is so incorrect because of two reasons. Weah flew on private jets for 6 years while he was in office. Walker has only been in office for a year and a half. And actually, the few occasions on which Mr. Walker flew private jet, the country did not pay for it. But I think the government realized that the optics were bad, so they stopped. The last few trips President Walker has made, guys, let's be honest, let's be fair. He flew on commercial, either on ASKY or Kenya Airways. So your information is not correct. He stopped flying private jet, even if the government was not paying for it, but he stopped. So that's one. You said all the concessions, they have not done anything. They have not done enough, but they've done some. Let's take the CTN. It was renegotiated. When George Weah signed the CTN, the government was getting 3%. Now this government renegotiated it. This government is getting 45%, well, 40% for the first 5 years, and for the second 5 years, it's going to go to 45%. And all of the fees were significantly reduced by just about 30-40%. So you are not correct when you say that this government has now moved to begin to revisit and renegotiate some of these deals. Let's take, for example, at the LPRC, there was an ongoing construction project there to construct some tanks, petroleum tanks. And Amos Tway came in, and he and his team renegotiated some of those deals and saved the government hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, and this is all public information, easily verifiable. So you would be right if you said they're not doing enough on the things they promised, but you would be wrong when you said they have not done anything at all. You could not be more wrong. They've done some things with regards to revisiting, renegotiating these deals. CDC signed it. We were getting 3% from the CTN. Joe Blocker has changed that. Several deals that they did have been renegotiated. So you're wrong. And Mr. Barker no longer flies private jet, even if it is offered free of charge. He now flies commercial. All his last 4 or 5 trips have been commercial. Let me give you one clear example. He flew to his first African Union summit in Addis Ababa a few months ago. He went on Ethiopian Airline. The entire delegation, it cost them $31,000. $31,000 for the entire delegation. When Mr. Weah used to fly, the average cost that the country bore was about $250,000 to $300,000. So no, you're not wrong. You're very wrong. There is no way you can make comparison between George Weah and Joe Walker. And this is not me defending Joe Walker. I don't need to defend Joe Walker. I don't work in his government. But this is me being objective.
But you guys are accurate information.
So-
Get 1,000 all the things.
By this
time, hold on, sir. By this time in Mr. Weah's administration, a year and a half in, Mr. Weah had already tuned down his dilapidated homes, which he couldn't afford to renovate. And in their places, he erected massive sprawling mansions. He built 48 condominiums, which, by the way, nobody can rent. They're sitting there. They're turning into a haunted place. Nobody wants to rent them. By this time, Mr. Weah had already built Jamaica Resort. What I built. Nobody has built absolutely nothing. He still lives in a modest house he built in 1981, a year before I was born. There is no way you can make any more equivalency between the two individuals because
let me step in. Let me step in for a second, Heron. Let me step in for a second. And I know that you are not attempting to defend the government. Your intentions are not to defend the government, but I think in reality you are doing just that, because in less than 15 months under the George Weah administration and under the administration that we were told that were unsophisticated, and like you mentioned earlier, we did not have this level of lawlessness. We did not have this level we did not. Joseph Boakai showed us. I'm sorry.
Go on, sir.
So for 15 months, what has happened under this administration, I don't think can be compared to what happened under the Weah administration. And by the way, There were lots of things that I did not agree with when it comes to George Weah. I think he made many, many mistakes. But you're right. We can't compare Weah with Joseph Boakai because Joseph Boakai has 40-something years of experience. Joseph Boakai has been in government and he has been vice president for over 12 years. What we have received, given everything considering, has not been what we expected. But because of time, the factor of time, I want to ask this question about, you mentioned something earlier about freedom of speech, right? And controlling the narrative. Listen, I don't think there's nothing necessarily wrong or nothing unconstitutional about the cash, like my sister Mariah Yakula would call them, the cash reloaded. But I want you to give your honest opinion on this. If paid government agents have to congregate to tell their story, have to congregate to control a particular narrative, don't you honestly think there's something fundamentally wrong with what we're hearing from the folks who were meant to be impacted by this narrative? When you look at the moms and pop shops, when you look at the Kehleboe sellers, when you go in the streets and talk to the regular folks who expected this government to change the economy, who expected this government to change things, they are not giving the same narrative that the class reloaded are giving. All of the folks from the class reloaded are fortunate because they are in government spaces. They don't have to worry about the things those regular folks are worrying about. So don't you think that contradicts what this government story should be told? If the successes of a government story are not told by those who are meant to be impacted, do you think they can effectively be told by those who work in the government and are complete beneficiary of the government, of the government?
Well, Robert, I will say this to you. I don't know why you're giving yourself all this headache over some government officials deciding to do a talk show. There's no law that they're breaking by doing a talk show. They have the right to defend their government. They are not in violation of the code of conduct. You have your right to listen to them or not listen to them. You have your right to criticize them or leave them be. But there is absolutely no law that they are violating to speak on a show hosted by them. Guys, I think I'm trying to read. The internet is much better now because the...
Yeah, please come on. Please.
Have stopped.
Yeah, please come on.
I'm coming back on video. So
Hang up here on the voice call and reconnect with you guys on video. So as I was saying, you are just giving yourself trouble for nothing. These guys have the right to have a talk show. They are not in violation of any law by hosting a talk show to do what they believe they need to do to defend their government. They are politicians. Yes, they are public servants, but they are politicians. And they feel that they need to defend the government. And that is exactly what they are doing. And so I don't see anything wrong with that, Robert, and I don't see why you're frustrated with it. But I can say this to you. I said, and I will maintain, there have been a lot of mistakes. Let me tell you one of the things I found that was very embarrassing, that people would get nominated by the president, and some of them would go as far as confirmation hearing, and their nominations would be withdrawn. And we didn't see one or two incidents. We saw a number of incidents that were terribly embarrassing. And people were making mockery of the government. Totally avoidable. I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything has been hunky-dory. I'm not going to do that. As I said, I do not owe this government anything to come and do propaganda for them. But I will speak the truth. And the truth here is, this government, while they have made some mistakes, but I can assure you, they've made very strident efforts to do a lot of good things.
But
they are slow in trying to get some things done, like holding people to account, like the criminals from the past administration that stole millions and millions of dollars, that they're letting go on the walkabout scot-free and act as though they are sins. You know, I think they have failed so far when it comes to holding people to account. but I can assure you, Joseph Boakai still leads the same modest life. Nothing has changed about him. He's still the same modest person. He lives in the same modest house that he built many years ago. He doesn't care about wealth acquisition. But yes, I can assure you, I cannot say the same of everybody in the government. I will not defend everybody in the government. I'm not here to defend the government. I'm not even here to defend Joe Boakai. Joe Boakai doesn't need me to defend him, but I would speak the truth. And if it is the truth that Joe Boakai has done a good deed, I will say it. And if it offends people for political reasons, that is their business. But these are the same people who supported a George Weah who was building mansions while they were hungry. And today they complain about hunger. Go ahead, Robert.
You give me 30 seconds, please. Just 30 seconds. Heron, I think my question wasn't about whether or not.
For some reason, I can hear you guys.
Yeah. Oh, you can. Oh, you can hear us. Oh boy. But we can hear you, but you can hear us. I think you have to go back and come back in. Yeah, I think you have to. Please give me 30 seconds, please. I don't think you answered my question. Just 30 seconds.
But I don't think you. If you have to answer a question before we leave for it, I mean, you answer it.
No. I will just reiterate the question, and then whether he answered or not. But I wanted him to. Maybe he didn't understand what I was saying. Just give me 30 seconds. I know Dr. Peabody is here. He got to answer. He got to ask some question. But that's small now. You do, listen, Heron is saying he's not trying to defend the government. But I think he's defending. He is defending the government. And the reality is, man, the reality is they would love for Heron to be on the defending team. He's not going to do that, but they would love for him to be on that team.
Robert,
he's not going to do that?
Robert,
well, but he's not out there like that.
Why he doing his right?
Robert,
you know, man, Kev did with me. Kev saying,
Robert.
Yeah, you just tested me too.
Robert, Robert.
Yes.
The man, you know, when the lawyer go to court.
I would love for him to rather come back because there are certain things he said I really want to join you. And too many, I hope everybody asking there, you're not interrupting.
Hey, Sylvester, let it, man. Wait now.
I'm getting 10 minutes.
I'm talking.
The question too long, guys.
When lawyers go to court, they call themselves friend of the court, right? This man have told you from the beginning that he is a friend of the administration. What else do you want? He told you already.
No, what they were like, gay man. What they were like is for Heron. Heron is not being forceful. We know Heron Costa. He's beating around the bush. He's not trying.
But that's what he told you. He said he's a friend of this administration.
That's what I'm saying. So we knowing Heron Costa will be as direct as he could possibly be.
And he told you he won't do that because he's a friend.
But in reality, what I'm saying is, based on the response, he's indirectly doing that, right? He talked about the government, and this is the question I wanted to ask him. Joseph Boakai is not concerned about obtaining wealth, but this very president said he didn't care. But the presidential vehicle turnover by the president, former president, that's less than 2-3 years old, he didn't care about that. He spent over 2.7.
But that's a new question you want to ask. That's my question.
But I already have it right here.
But no, but you asked the question.
And then he said the man still living in the same modest house. No, that house is not what it used to be. That house is not what it used to be like. They've expanded that house.
He's a president of Liberia. You expect him to live to be vulnerable to the society.
But that's the point exactly. But George Weah did not have that excuse.
That's why
George Weah did not have that excuse.
Well, he did not move into a new house, though.
But the house is new. Because
the house is technically new. Peabody, go to the house. They rebuilt the house.
The man say the probably built 30, 40.
They rebuilt the house.
Why made the man live in the same old house?
So Heron,
I think I'm back with you guys. Look, Robert,
you hear me?
Robert, you are not a wealthy man.
No,
but if you became president today, they will make modifications to your modest home that you currently own. That is the way it works.
Right, I agree.
They do that for presidents all over the world.
Okay, I agree.
Presidents have certain benefits. Joe Boakai did not. Let me tell you what Mr. Weah did. When Mr. Weah became president, he blocked the road, a major road, the rehab road. Nobody could pass in front of Weah's house. Joe Boakai is president and lives in the same place. We still pass there. He never blocked the road. So, Robert, Joe Boakai still, I've been in the house. I know the house very well. And I can tell you this, they've done a few modifications, like change some furniture. Come on, he's the president of the republic. His salary can afford furniture, or the government can afford to put furniture in his house.
Henry,
But other than that, Robert,
Henry, here was my
the house is still the same house.
Henry, here was my question, and I want you to honestly reflect on this. And this will be it. Freedom of speech is good. Here is my question, and I did not talk about laws being broken. Those guys have the right to express themselves like we do on this platform. What I am saying to you is, don't you think that the story and the narrative that they're trying to control should be heard directly from the voices of those that policy were meant to impact? Don't you think that's more effective? And you talked about the president cares nothing about obtaining wealth and all that stuff, but this very president invested almost $2 to $3 million in acquiring new bulletproof vehicle when the former president turned over vehicles that were purchased by taxpayer dollars that is not even 2-3 years old. So how do you reconcile that?
Well, look, I don't know the details. And I think LEC is back and the guy is trying to switch because the storm has calmed. I don't know the details about those vehicles, but I heard what the EPS said. The EPS said the presidential motorcade, the two vehicles the president rides in, those vehicles were old and they were about 5 or 6 years old and they needed to be replaced. And they replaced them. And I see some of you guys quoting all kinds of figures. Look, let me tell you something. I know the company that was given the contract to purchase those vehicles. It was a Liberian company. I will not call the company's name. It was a Liberian company. And the company is owned by somebody I know. And those vehicles cost nowhere near $1.2 million. He's a very good friend of mine and a very good friend. He got the contract. I didn't even know until he told me.
So what's the estimate cost?
You know? Huh?
What do you think is the estimate cost of those vehicles, according to your friend that will not be named?
I don't know. I didn't ask, but he told me this. He said, bro, they are way less than 1.2 million. Are you kidding me? Look, those vehicles, the basic model is $150,000, $160,000. Basic model.
115.
No, it's more than that.
I'm trying to get 115.
I said the basic model. Basic model. When you buy it, the basic model is $150,000. Then you have to. Then they have to bulletproof them, customize them. They had to fit them with armor. That's all they put in it. The only thing they put in those vehicles, they armor plated the vehicle. That's all. That's all they did. They didn't do anything else. All the other things people are saying that they did, they didn't do those things. So those vehicles, each of those vehicles, if you talking, and I did some research, how much does it cost to armor plate or to bulletproof? Let's use the Liberian way we say it. A vehicle of that size, and it's nothing more than $150,000. Nothing more than $150,000. So each of those vehicles could have cost something around $300,000. But again, gentlemen, the EPS said the old fleet, the old vehicles, presidential vehicles were old and they needed to be replaced. So now and guess what? The decision to procure those vehicles was not made by Joe Boakai. It was made by the EPS because they saw a fit to replace the presidential motorcade or presidential vehicles. Those vehicles cost no more than $300,000 per vehicle. And it was not Joe Boakai's. Look, let me tell you something. When the president used to go to the States, I used to drive the president around in my little Bobby Solo, my little old Range Rover.
The Lexus or the Porsche? Which one?
No, my Range Rover.
Oh, yeah,
but the president did not mind. As long as it was comfortable, it didn't break down on the road.
But
this is not a man that cares about luxury.
He didn't have money then, so he had no choice.
The point about it, he has never really cared about those things. This man was vice president before, and he was not a man, he didn't build mansion. He was vice president for 12 years. He didn't build a mansion. Look, guys, I'm not defending Joe Boakai. I'm just being honest. The fact here is we saw a man, and this is one of the things that made a lot of people gravitate towards him. We saw a man who had been in the corridors of power for so many years and did not accumulate wealth at the expense of the country. We didn't witness that. Name one property you know Baka has bought somewhere. By this time in Weah's administration, he had built condominiums everywhere, bought a home in Paris. His son was arrested in Paris for having parties and bringing prostitutes and playing loud music because we have bought a $2 million house in some rich neighborhood in Paris. It was out there. We all you're not going to hear this about Jojo Boakai. I dare you. Jojo Boakai is afraid of his father. He's never going to be in all kinds of shady things because they are afraid of their father. So I will not sit here to defend Joe Boakai. It is not my job, but I'll speak the truth.
Thank you.
That's the truth.
You know, I'm saying Pedro. I'm sensing Pedro is saying he's not going to come back, and I will predict here today on this platform, the class reloader is back due to the very dismal performance of the government. They try to regroup to come and do some defensive work for the government. They're going to miserably fail. That's my prediction. What's going to happen between now and next year this time, Pedro will reintroduce himself to come and heavily help those guys defend. Trust me. Pedro
I'm never going to do that.
Pedro
Listen to me.
Come back.
Wait. Brother Pewee, let me hold you there. I want to make a point. Let me make a point.
Go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
I fought more than anybody in this government to make this government. I don't have a job in this government. I don't want a job in this government. I'm not going to come to defend this government. No, I have nothing to do with this government. I am not going to come to defend a government that I fought to make. And to do that, that would be beneath me. It would be an insult to me to be defending a government while the people are in power. No, I'm not going to do that. It is an insult.
Yeah, granted. Now I would take now to ask my two questions quickly. But I thought what you tried doing today is almost more than coming open it to say you defending them. All of the position you just said a few things. Let me correct them while we move on. I will take if I'll even just take one question will be no problem. The issue about the former president's son, and I was privileged to serve in his government. I'm not here to defend him or whatsoever, but we need to speak to the facts. The former president's son was never ever on record that said we heard that he was arrested for importing prostitute or in other words doing anything illegal that we heard of in Paris. And there's no information whatsoever that the former president.
You want me to pull up the link and send it to you right now?
That the police
were called and they asked them to lower the music, and he had a rowdy crowd at their place. You were having regular parties, loud music.
Costa, you agree.
Let's not even go there.
You agree with me that out of your time here in the US, particularly in Delaware or other areas, probably you may have some gathering or went to some gathering where you guys are just having drinks and the police will come around and say, cool the music. Well,
I didn't get mine reported in the media in America, but he had his reported.
The police will come around and say, cool off the music. It happened everywhere in the world. Now, it's because of public ambience. The other people want to protect the seniority of the community, and some of them will be curious to call the police that, hey, we're getting some information. And it's based on you not adequately informing your neighbors if you're having the kind of gathering. They will be concerned, they will call the police, and the police will just come around to quiet things down. That does not in no way incriminate any individual whatsoever. I thought to clarify that position. And another thing you also say, and most of those, like the current president, when his video is coming, they will block the road, the same rehab side. When he's leaving or he's going to work, coming out sometime, they will block it. The same thing, we did not permanently block the rehab road.
That is not true.
Whenever the president is commuting to work or whatsoever, the EPS will send an instruction, the pilot vehicle will do those things and then block the road. In temporary period, then they will lift the blockade and then vehicular traffic will move on. So I thought to clarify some of these things as we move through, because I don't want us to see that this president is doing more better thing than the former president. As a matter of fact, they came as a rescue team, and to the contrary, they're not doing what they promised to have done for us as people of Liberia.
That is just you, and I'm not here to defend them. Let them defend their own government.
And some of what I'll try to clarify also, most of this trip, the former president, as you said, some of this trip, Mr. Boakai, when all was the plane was given, because we have got friends around the world also.
That's not true. We
remember
paid for those
global icon.
private jet rides.
Remember, he's a global icon. There's a man that played football, earned himself a lot of money. So to build those 47 condominiums whatsoever, it's not news. This is a man that made money for himself.
And he didn't build them when he was not president.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
not big man, Pewee. Stop that thing, man.
Ask a question. Let me
What's the question, Pewee?
I'm going back to my question. I listened to you just now. You said the president's recent trip out of to the AU gallery in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, they paid $31,000. $31,000. Did you see that? Can you exhibit any receipt to tell the president?
I'm not here to do that. It's for you to investigate. You are the talk show host.
The president went for a delegation of 28 persons. Most of them flew business class and other things. He said 31,000. Can you exhibit that to tell us that the president actually spent 28% delegation for just Addis Ababa? You tell us the president is spending $31,000. Can you exhibit any flare receipt to the Liberian people or the voucher that the president delegation spent $31,000 to make that trip?
We're not in a debate. I don't have to do that. You go and verify.
Why inform that amount?
Go and investigate.
Or is there a propaganda spree you want to defend the government that they've been cost effective in spending our money?
I don't have to defend the government. I don't work in the government.
Where did you get your soul that they spent $31,000?
I'm just stating facts that are within my possession.
And where did you get that fact from?
I don't have to tell you my source.
Okay, let's move on.
Then I'll go to my second question. But before I go to the second question, if you don't want to tell the source, if you come on a public platform, then I think it will be proper that you hold the information, because if you want to divulge, if you come to say something like you're waiting to give the facts surrounding sale information, I think it's just prudent that we engage the platform in this kind of a manner that would be okay. And I mean, it's just important. And you agree with me that if you come up with those kind of half-baked information, then it's unacceptable. Because
that is your view, Pewee, and I respect that. Let's proceed.
Then I'll go back to the next question, if I will. Now, you currently engage into the mining sector, the mining sector in Liberia, and
why does the guy keep bringing up my mining venture?
And let me commend you for that great entrepreneurial and something you spirit you brought. It's good that we young people get involved into different kind of business and rest of that. I hail you for that, basically. But I want to bring this environmental process the mining sector is impacting the country. I don't know if you witnessed. I went to the compost site in Bapo in the beyond the Garguah end, beyond the time. The major area at the time, new progressive with this investigation, the serious issue about environmental impact on the people. I want to find out from you and your side of the mining thing. Do you see any potential threat to the people, and is that causing serious environmental problem to the people that the government needs to do some major intervention? Because they're taking millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, but the people are living object poverty. They dig those pit holes. If you are to, I mean, you are engaged into it and you see it. It causes some serious environmental problem to them. And are you concerned about that? Have you spoken to the president, your uncle, and the Minister of Lands, Mines, and Energy as to some of those issues, and if these folks are getting their own side of the corporate social responsibility, those mining institutions, are they really giving back to the people?
Well, I am not involved in major scale mining. I'm what you call a semi-industrial mining. We're using excavators, wash plants and stuff, but we're not mounting level, or, but we do provide this on such an arrangement, on such a framework. The communities do benefit to some extent. In a lot of cases, particularly involving the Chinese, they have been they've been flouting the laws, been involved with a lot of environmental degradation, but not just them, but people in general. But I see this Minister of Mines and Energy on a Wilmer page. You should follow their Facebook page. Okay. And even the EPA, they've been aggressively trying to curb illicit mining, and the EPA working in concert with them, trying to combat environmental, degradation. So yes, they've been doing that, and I commend them. And one of the things they're also doing, as I speak to you, they are drafting a piece of legislation to amend the existing mining laws to protect, exclusively set aside the Class B mining license for Liberians only, because the Chinese are heavily exploiting it, and that's very pro-Liberian. And you know, and I'm very glad about that. The president will receive that piece of draft legislation from them, and he's going to forward it to the legislature to amend the mining laws so that the day Brother Sylvester Pewee decides to go into Class B mining, which is the space that I'm in, you would be protected against the Chinese. So, you know, that's very pro-Liberian. And to Brother Garguah, who was saying we don't see any reforms, that's one of the reforms that this government is making, the way they're approaching the semi-industrial mining sector, a space in which I'm participating, and I can testify to how it's been abused and the law's been flouted by people, predominantly foreigners.
Okay, yes. Peabody, welcome. Let me just ask my questions, then Peabody can come into quickly. Guys, Mr. Costa, the CDC and the UP, they've been going back and forth in recent times. CDC claims that United Party has not initiated any projects on its own, and most of the projects inherited from the CDC administration. But again, we say it's government's continuity, though. But do you believe the Unity Party lacks a viable agenda? Are they struggling to implement their own plans?
Absolutely not. Unity Party has their own agenda. CDC had their own agenda. Look, let's be honest. A lot of the roads that are being built were roads that CDC had planned to build or had secured funding for, or were in the process of securing funding for. And there's nobody's going to argue that. But there are a lot of new projects that were initiated by this government. And so, you know, it's childish that these two people make this argument. You know, even when CDC was in power, UP made that argument, and it was childish. It was childish then, it's childish now. Oh, our project. It's not your project. It's a government project. Government's continuity. You know, so what do you expect the UP government to do? To abandon the projects that were initiated by the CDC folks because they're no longer in power or because they're a different party? So it's all childishness, you know. And I think the people in this government need to focus on delivering and executing those projects rather than trying to say, oh, you know, it's all childish. Initiate your own projects, do and continue the projects or execute the projects that you met. You know, but stop fighting over projects like it's for you. It's for the country. So it's childish.
Okay, my last question. In terms of tolerance, I know you are a notable critic of the CDC, yeah. But do you think this government is more accommodating than the CDC, especially when it comes to major opposition protests? They are being thwarted by state security. Other time they try to do protests, they're being issuing a statement that they could just thwart their protests. Do you think they are tolerant when it comes to a protest from the opposition?
Look, every Liberian government makes the same stupid mistake. When citizens want to protest, let them protest. Provide security protection. In fact, cook. If our president today, people want to protest, I will cook for you. I will have a whole elaborate menu for you. I will bring beer. I will not bring it in bottles so you can hurt yourself. I will put it in can. I'll bring water for you, cold water and all. But stop with this nonsense. Every government makes the same mistake.
Don't bring no bourbon now.
No. They will get too charged and they'll forget the protest. I will just bring some beer. So they need to let people protest. Sometimes, and as somebody who led the biggest protest in this country's history, I will tell you this. The government's knee-jerk reaction to the call for a protest by a cross-section of citizens sometimes gives momentum to the protest. I don't think this particular protest has momentum. I don't. It is nothing like our June 7th. If they are trying to replicate what we did on June 7th, I'm sorry, it is not going to happen. But I can say this. Let them start going back and forth with them. The protest will be Fiamomo protest. Give them food. Give them water. Don't be like CDC. They went to disbanded us with violence. They took our sausage. They ate the food. They took all our things.
Costa, won't quickly say you are selfish. When you did this, other people rally around you. Why are you discouraging people? And
I'm not discouraging anybody.
One would say you were selfish because when your turn came, you expected folks to rally behind you. And they did. Now that the folks are calling for this, you are not even predicting the success story about this pending protest and the rest of that.
And you know why I'm predicting it? Because I think I am an expert when it comes to holding protests. I have a record. for calling and leading the biggest protest in the country's history. When we called for a protest, we had the most powerful propaganda machinery in the country. This protest does not have it. When we called for a protest, we had issues. We have rallied the people around bread and butter issues. This protest does not have it. They don't have the machinery and the sophistication that we had. That is a fact. They don't have it. Look, I was on radio 6 days a week. I was on podcasts. I was everywhere talking, and Delon and Mo Ali and everybody was talking. And guess what?
It don't necessarily have to be
hold on,
the
Pewee.
pattern
Hold on.
you use.
Here's another reason why people don't take the protest seriously, including CDC people. My dear brother Moba Molu was a chairman of CDC at the time. Nobody's going to take the former chairman of CDC seriously when he calls for a protest.
I agree.
When we called for the protest, Unity Party was in the back. We led the protest. We were not political party officials or former government officials.
And
So nobody's going to take you seriously.
Costa, apart from that, they're conflicted. I agree with you 100%. They have a guy who don't understand whether or not he's against the rule of law or for the rule of law as the international spokesman of the protest. So until he resigns, Alexander Blondie, he's my great brother. I think they're conflicted. I agree 100% with you. I don't think they have what it takes to lead in a sensible protest when they have voices that are conflicted. I agree with you 100%. Thank
you, my brother.
So that's your prediction.
There's going to be a flop. Give them food. Give them water.
From the perspective of quickly, Costa, on the issue of giving them food and all that thing, I think I agree from that line. The former police chief, Patrick Sulu, the last Butaya suffering protest that was then planned by the opposition, when Patrick Sulu moved inside the ghetto guys, water and food, I mean, all of them stopped. I mean, the protest immediately stopped there that day.
Which protest to get them food and water? Well, they stole our food and our water, and everybody witnessed it.
No, the last protest, Butaya suffering protest.
Oh, that the weak protest, then you get food and water. But the real protest, you stole our food and water.
No, we didn't steal the food. What we did was that we even, I mean,
what you do? Hey, you carry to Monroe Central Prison?
Costa, Mr. Hey, brother, you're bad, man. You call it for. You call it for.
People gonna come in. You're gonna come in quickly. Costa, you agree with me? Peabody gonna come. You agree with me that the Weir government exhibited what I would call at the time the perfect democratic tendency in line with that of your protest.
When they shut down the internet. When they shut down the internet.
They didn't shut down. They didn't shut the internet down.
Why is this guy lying?
They didn't shut the internet. I would say, you want to give me
it was international reported by CNN and world media.
They didn't shut the internet down. There was a serious technical glitches that unfolded.
How convenient! The technical glitch happened just when we were hosting the protest. Man, look, stop that thing, man.
It's technical issues.
People come in.
No, let me come in, man. It's so good to see you.
Peabody coming, man.
Peabody, don't complain too much. Just come in. Don't complain. Go ahead.
It's so good to see you. It's been a while. But you know, let me begin by statement here. You know what I respect you. You know, any man who realized that they made a mistake and can come back and make amends, it makes you a very strong and powerful man, and that's why I like you. People may not understand this, but I'm glad that you know you were able to make amends with the president because you worked hard for that party. You work hard. Days and night, morning, you were all over this place. You work hard. So I'm glad that you came back. Even though you don't have a job, but at least you go into the business area. We need a lot of Liberians to go into the business.
Exactly, and create jobs.
A lot of Liberians are not given the opportunity. They don't have it. You know, so I applaud you, you know, even like I listened to you when you talk about the vice president and you were able to, you know, it takes real men to do that. Some folks will keep it in their heart forever and don't even talk to do and stuff like that, or will not come out to realize. But let me ask you this question: compared to the previous regime and the Bouaka regime, how will you compare Bouaka 1 year toward the CDC 1 year in power?
That's a good question, Dr. Peabody. Thank you very much, Nimsik. Let's start with the individuals. Let's draw a dichotomy between the two individuals. By this time in George Weah's administration, 3 months into Weah's administration in March, he demolished his 9th Street dilapidated, leaking house, and in his place began to erect a mansion that is there today. By this time, Mr. Weah had built the 48 condominiums on that 10-acre property that he had forever and could not develop. By this time, Mr. Weah had built Jamaica Resort, where he goes to have convivial times. By this time, Mr. Weah had surrendered power completely to Nathaniel McGill, who was a de facto prime minister. By this time, Mr. Weah was Okorom and very much enjoying himself on these frivolous private jet trips that really brought nothing. By this time, Mr. Weah had signed 2 phony deals with Eaton, this phony company that was supposed to bring $500 million that didn't come, and Ibomap with this his friend Bugongo, and he said the guy let him ride his private jet to boost his morale. By this time, a few people, had some of the auditors been murdered yet? I don't know whether they had been murdered, but I may be mixing the timeline. But comparing the 2 administrations, by this time we had the mop-up exercise, and $25 million could not be accounted for. By this time we had the 16 billion Liberian dollars in containers that went missing. I could go on and on. In the Bouaka administration, on the other hand, by this time, we've had some mistakes. We've had some mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and say they haven't had some mistakes. I don't think they shouldn't even have let Mr. Bouaka, if I were in the government, I would not have let Mr. Bouaka fly a private jet. You know why? Even if people provided it free of charge, because the optics, because we made the case against private jet. You see, sometimes it is the handlers of the president that caused the problem. I would have put my foot down, namesake. I would have said no. I made a lot of argument against private jet. We made a big campaign issue. And so even if somebody is giving it to the president for free, he will not fly it. I'm told President Bouaka got to the point where he said, I don't want it. And that's why he's been flying commercial for several months now. But that's not George Weah. George Weah went to Qatar for the World Cup, spent 48 days, and took $1.5 million to go watch his son play football. So there's no way, namesake, you can compare these 2 individuals. Absolutely no way, namesake. So this government needs to do a lot to create jobs, namesake. They're slow. They're very slow. They need to create jobs. I know they're making the Security Council seat is a big deal, but it doesn't put bread and butter on the table. I think the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is my own sister, a big sister from the same church, Zion Grove Baptist Church, she needs to focus on commercial diplomacy, economic diplomacy. Go and be begging companies all over the world to come invest in this country, and rather than soliciting votes to get a Security Council non-permanent member seat that will really not solve the bread and butter issues that we have here. So I'm not going to sit here and say everything is rosy, but there's just no way you can speak of George Weah and Joe Bouaka in the same breath. They're 2 distinct individuals. So namesake, your Deacon Baptist brother, Joe Bouaka, is far better than George Weah.
But you talking about Deacon, or you talking about pastor? But let me.
But you pastor, the man are Deacon. No, and you Baptist. No, both for you, and I'm a Baptist too.
Another president who was pastor, President Weah too. But let me move on. Let me ask you this question. I just want to find out. You've been in politics, Do you think CDC still remain a powerful opposition? Do you see President Weah coming back strong in the next election?
Absolutely, yes. Look, let me tell you something. George Weah defies the odds. He has a cult following. He got a bunch of collie-head people who just follow him. They don't care what he does or doesn't do. They don't care. He's like Donald Trump in that regard. If Weah runs today, if elections were held today, Mr. Weah would be in a runoff election automatically. If elections were held today. But can he win? I don't think Mr. Weah can win. Mr. Weah, I'm coming, namesake. Mr. Weah has a curse. He can win runoff election. The only one he ever won was the one that was organized by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. His own runoff election that he organized, he lost. The man can win runoff election. And here is why. He lost a runoff election to a broke and poor Unity Party alliance when he was a sitting president. Do you think this guy, when he shall have exhausted a lot of the money he stole, flying private jet and having himself a jolly good time for the next 5 years, when he comes back in 2000, they're already doing pay your due rally. We ain't going nowhere yet. They're already asking the poor members whom they couldn't create jobs for to pay dues. While he's flying private jet, they must pay dues. So do you think that guy is going to come back and win a runoff when he was sitting president, organized the election, couldn't win a runoff? The reason why Mr. Weah will not win a runoff is very, very simple, namesake. Is because every time George Weah runs, the people, George Weah will pick up about 30-35% of the votes. But when they get to the runoff, the 60 or 75 or 60 or 70% of the voters who did not vote for George Weah in the runoff, 95% or 90% of those people will not vote for George Weah. They're going to vote for the person that faces off with Weah in the runoff. That is why Weah finds it difficult to win an election. With Ellen's help in 2017, that's why he won. With his own help, on his own watch, he lost. So Mr. Weah, I would not bet on him. I will put my money on somebody else who may be far less popular than George Weah. But I will not bet on George Weah to come back to power in 20. In fact, I will put my money on a third viable option who is formidable, who can muster a lot of resources and build a powerful machinery than George Weah. Because Weah is like the guy who will take you to the water side but can't cross the water with you.
Who would that be?
I don't know.
Alice Cummings?
But time will tell.
Alice Cummings?
Yeah, thank you, namesake.
I do not know. I'm not writing anybody off. I'm not writing anybody off, but I will not put my money on George Weah.
So, Buddy, you done?
The Myean will run off.
Let me go my last question, namesake.
Who goes support the man are president, Myean will run off. The man look at me and told me, say, Pedro, my man can't talk off. My man, we're winning the team. We're winning the team. The Myean will run off.
That be already at 2 questions.
That's the day I wore my big African shirt, right?
Don't turn the radio. We're on national radio, man.
Right. Yeah, it's Peabody. All the other question there, so of course I already call the man Nise. So you can that band and Nise.
My man, but the whole thing there about the man of my Nise and my bastard brother.
The band is there now. Nise, then Nise are the friend.
I said,
but you're my fellow neo-progressive now.
Yeah, I know.
Almost about a wrap up, so but we'll be taking 5 calls. We'll be our football calls. If you have 5 calls, then we'll be wrapping up after the call. So just give your 5 calls. You can call in 5 calls. We'll be wrapping up. But the man. There's late like bro. The man gotta go. It's Friday.
Can I ask my last question, please?
How many questions you gonna ask now? How many questions?
Give me the man will ask no question.
But that
they make small question at 9 minutes.
No, Rob won't 30 seconds. Rob can say 30 seconds.
I think George got somebody on the line. Go ahead, George.
Go ahead, Nims. Go ahead.
Guys, I have the calls. Yeah, caller, go ahead.
Rob, need 30 seconds. Right, questions.
Go ahead. You got 1 minute. 1 minute.
Well, you everybody make up here.
I mean, 1 minute. Abu.
Let me extend my qualified gratitude to the
unqualified.
Unqualified gratitude to the great Henry.
Go ahead. We don't let him distract you. Go ahead.
I'm proud of you. For on behalf of the Unity Party, I want to
sit down somewhere, man.
Man,
you have been.
Because I'm going to be dreaming about you. You need to qualify.
I'm actually proud of you. Thank you so much for giving what we inherited, a government that existed for less than 2 years without the CDC government. To be generous, what grade will you give CDC and our Unity Party?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the message unqualified. I was saying that last 2023 around all the kind of time when I'm calling unqualified.
My dear brother Harry, don't take that begin serious.
Go ahead.
The
Hello?
very man that were cussing you, they're
Hello?
unqualified.
Hello?
Man, go sit down somewhere, man.
Okay. But you want to take call from the studio there?
Yeah, the guy is coming.
So let him answer a book question.
We got call up.
Yeah.
Hey, other question.
Go ahead, Chief.
Got 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. This is Luki Kumar, and I'm joining you from Kigali, Rwanda. So, what a good, day to speak and listen to my former chairman, Chairman Costa. I know you mean well for Liberia, and I wish you all the best in your business endeavor. But here is the thing, a few months ago, you came on Facebook to apologize to the Liberian people, and in that broadcast you had, you mentioned about the president being disappointed. And I'm mentioning this because you practically gave President Bouaka a face in the opposition then. One of the campaigns that you ran that resonated with the Liberian people, you said, because President Bouaka, having had the opportunity to be in a position where he can make a decisive, decision on certain things that has to do with corruption and the rest of it. And instead of the president taking decision, Chairman Costa, president is disappointed. He cannot take a decision, but he's having a secret meeting with you, expressing his disappointment instead of taking an action as the president of the country. How do you reconcile that? As somebody who really campaigned for this government, can we say you all misled the people to where we are today? Can we say that?
Go ahead, caller.
How you doing, Chairman Josh?
Yeah, ask a question. 1 second.
This is Emmanuel Man.
Yeah.
I just want to know which side Henry Costa is on. Yeah, I just want to know which side Henry Costa is on.
Okay, thank you. Caller, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. 1 minute.
Yeah, this is Cyrus Garguah. I follow the show from Kigali. As a matter of fact, Henry is my big brother. I love him so much. But I smell contradiction in his analysis tonight. So it's saying he spoke with anger. It's saying he has personal problem with President Weah. But real quick, I want him to confirm certain things. Whether or not he stands by the statement he made during the campaign that Jeremiah Kum is a human organ trafficker. I want him to confirm. If he still stands by it, I understand he apologized to Kum, but I want him to state whether or not it was led to anger or it is something that has facts. That's my question.
Yeah, may I already answer that question? Sylvester asked that question.
No, I don't stand by it. Can I answer these questions before you take more, please?
Okay, yeah.
No, I will begin with the last question. If I stood by it, I would not have offered my apologies and retracted. So I do not stand by it. I spoke. It was in a spur of the moment, and I was having yeah. And number two, the other guy said, "We side I'm on. I'm on Henry Costa's side. For the first time, I'm on my own side. I'm not for the government. I'm not for CDC. I'm on Henry Costa's side. Anything that benefits my economic interests, my well-being as a citizen, I'm all for it."
Pedro Lebron Poster, are you not on the side too?
No, I'm not on Lebron Poster side now. I'm on my own side.
But Costa is
I'm not an advocate.
But Costa is a Liberian. So
Yeah, but that's why I say I'm on my own side. Let everybody be on their own side.
So you no longer advocate.
What about the voiceless?
The voiceless got people like you to talk for them. That number one, my man want me to talk for the whole country.
Go ahead, bro. I thought to do business now.
Okay. I'm trying to do business. You're going to do politics and business. They don't go together.
They don't mix.
Go ahead,
Y'all want me to lie?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Sarah Dopo. I just have a question. I heard Costa said that he was the decision to join CDC was because of his party. His party made the decision. But we also listened to several videos on social media, even before he made the decision to go to CDC. He had a problem with Unity Party. I think he wanted a position, and somebody lied to Boakai. All of his anger was in that video, and he was very mad about it. And he started talking a lot of things about Boakai, exposing his medical record and stuff like that. So, can he tell us whether it was because of that anger that made him to disassociate himself from United Party and join CDC? Because if it was the party, he had a right to not even go there. But because that what they said about him, in his own words, he said people were saying stuff about him to Boakai, and he didn't like that, and then he got very angry and said a lot of things. So I want to know whether that is what prompted him, because I don't believe it was because of the party that made him to join CDC. Thank you.
Okay.
So we have someone on the line already.
Let me tell you the last caller.
You know what do you call from?
Man, just hold on 1 minute. Let's take the last call from this side, then you can.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, you live.
Okay. I'm Martina Bonantia, Costa Princess. I'm uptown and you know I'm up for my daddy. Okay, quickly to the point. For those who complaining about the side we choose, right? If they really follow the political history, Henry Costa fought Unity Party for 12 years. And when the knee harasses, he left CDC with the opposition. We already fought. He supported Unity Party 2017. And because of similar things that are happening, our politicians in the habit, when they help the government, the certain government to damage the country after corrupting our country, they will go ahead and join the opposition because they want to remain in power. And because they don't get the country at heart, everybody will follow them. So if you follow the political history of Henry Costa, I don't know why people complaining, why United Party who is getting to them so much. Because Henry Costa left CDC while they were in opposition, they fought the same United Party that jailed him, and he supported the 2017. So why this time around when he left the United Party and go support CDC have become an issue, and everybody making CDC United Party that go for you, United Party that not go for us. We make our decision, we sacrifice, we promoted United Party never have propaganda. We make United Party who they are today. If they can't appreciate us, we will not going to bow down because why they eat power today. For me,
so just be alone.
Support today. I will not support United Party. My support for United Party, I'm not on their side. I think people can tell from my post, but my support to my leader is constant, and I remain his daughter. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, Maya.
Okay, so we have this call on the line. Hello, where do you call from?
How many calls?
Yeah, again, my name is Tomalin.
You said 2?
Yeah.
No, let me take like 10 calls from that.
You know,
that's right.
my brother, I want to speak directly to what I'm witnessing now. I am not a Silesian. I am not a unity partisan. I am an independent Liberian who wants to see Liberia grow and flourish. Henry Costa was someone, when he brought about the COP, we all supported COP. I have never donated to any political cause. When someone is raising money, the first political cause in my life was to donate to Henry Costa's COP. At that stage, Costa was protesting all over in Liberia to remove George Weah, which was very bad. Tonight, I am watching the same Henry Costa, and he is saying, I'm not for the Liberian people. I am now talking about myself. I am going to this is very much disheartening. Let's be realistic. I don't know whether Costa knows what he's saying or knows the number of people that he is betraying. The thing about
thank you. We have 1
Maya,
minute.
just 1 minute. You can take 10 calls. Yeah, 1 minute. At 10 minutes.
My name is Archie.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Costa concerning the former president's statement about the death of the former first lady. I want to know if Costa see any sincerity in the condolence and former President George Weah. Thank you.
What do I have to do with that?
Okay, so you can put your calls in 077764996, 077764996. If you back home, you can put your call. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from? Hello, caller. Wow, please call back 077764996. So you can also call us on WhatsApp +231 777 So let's take this caller. Hello, caller. Your name and where do you call from? Wow, we have a lot. Hello, caller. Your name and where do you call from?
Because I got a lot of busy tonight.
Yeah, go ahead. Wow, so let's take this. Hello, your name and where do you call from? Okay, make your point.
My point is, I've heard a lot of deception when few out. Deception number one, there's a street leading from no stress. The president or some club there, that street was blocked by President Walker up to.
Oh wow, we lost that. Hello, caller.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. Your name and where do you call from?
Oh, I'm George Smith, calling from Looking Town.
Okay, make a point.
Looking Town.
Make a point.
For now, I haven't heard the voice of Pedro Costa. As I'm in my little corner, I'm very happy to hear the voice of Pedro Costa. Mr. Costa, I want to say hats up to you. Yes. Mr. Costa, you need to take your own time, please. For me, I love you, but you need to take your own time. And for now, I don't even expect you to be on radio at this time. You need to rest yourself because the work that you did in the COP, we really admire you. For me, I really admire you. So I just want to, to give you my little advice to rest your mind. Mr. Costa, some of all, for me, I am your follower.
0770127832.
Okay, thank you. Selected this next caller. Hello, caller.
All right, last call. We gotta go, Myean. Remember the weekend on start. We gotta go. All right, last call.
Okay, so let's take this last call. Hello, caller. Your name and where do you call from?
0777616240. 0776957920.
Hello?
Yeah, make a point.
Okay, my name is Matthew Quade and I call from Johnsonville.
0776957920.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to congratulate Eric Costa for taking the decision to go back to the party and reconcile the difference. The party win today. Eric Costa is almost like 90% of our win. I'm a unity partisan. So in no day will I go against Eric Costa. I believe in me. And I know one day, when after he does this work, I know come 2029, he make a decision. And this time around will be more freedom than ever before. Congratulations.
Yeah, okay, Myean, we're done.
I got one call. I got one call. Real quick call. Caller, your name, where you calling from?
This is Kehleboe Gongloe. I'm one of the panelists who was still excluded from the show today. I have a question for.
Yeah, we talking about like where you feel. Where you feel? Where you feel? I swear to God.
So here is my question for Henry, my little brother. I've listened to you so long. I follow you. We have private chat. We have private talk. I describe you as a radical progressive.
1 minute.
My question is, the way the post-war country Liberia has been governed by both the CDC and the Unity Party. Do you think it is time to go for a third option that presents a radical option for overhauling the state?
The best question of the night. Best question of the night. The best question of the night. Well, anyway, want to say thanks. Want to say thanks and let Mr. Pedro to answer all the questions, and then he can give his parting comments, and we'll move from there. Thank you so much. But Pedro, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thanks to the callers as well. I think we had a beautiful interaction. I had an amazing time. To answer the question, I will begin with the last from Mr. Gongloe. And he's right. We talk all the time. I have a great deal of respect for him and for the Gongloe family in general. I am a radical progressive. That's true. And CDC and Unity Party, they are not radical progressives. That's not the leadership style. And that is the truth. You see, this is the thing with me, Pewee, unlike seditionists or people who support we are. I will tell you the truth. The truth here is that the kind of radical transformation and radical progressive leadership I want to see in Liberia, that's not what it is. But it doesn't mean that they have a different style, their own political philosophy. But I am all for radical progressive transformation. That's what I stand for. But it doesn't mean I can't work with people who are not radical. But so Mr. Gongloe, I do agree with you that there is a need for that, and that's what I want to fight for. I want to fight for radical progressive change. That's what I want, and I don't think Joe Weah can give me that. No, so that's why I'm not inclined to support CDC. Joe Weah all about making money. This administration, I haven't seen radical progressive change. No, but again, it's not the president's philosophy to be radical. He's not a radical. He's a pro-establishment person. He has a moderate style of leadership, but this country needs radical progressive transformation. That's what this country needs. To answer the other question, somebody said, why don't you be quiet? But that's what I've been. My good friend Tomalin is who made me break my silence. I've been quiet. And but every once in a while, I have to speak. I'm a Liberian citizen. I have the right to speak. And another person said he supported me. The first time he ever gave money to a political cause or an advocacy cause was with the COP. My brother, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But at the same time, he said he's disappointed that I said that I'm not for the Liberian people right now. Look, there has to be a time in life you have to be selfish. I have a family. I have people who I'm responsible for. People who love me that I love. My family comes first. The Liberian people come second. It's God, family, country. You see, God first, my family second. So right now, it's all about me and my family. That's what I meant by I'm not fighting for the Liberian people now. Others are doing it. I don't have to do that. Others are doing it. Now, to the other person who asked what I'm disappointed in how the government is performing, no, I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed in how the government is performing. I mean, I would want them to do certain things differently. I'm disappointed in certain things, but not in the overall performance of the government. Absolutely not. I will not sit here and tell you I'm completely disappointed with the government's performance. I'm disappointed in the slow pace of holding people to account, particularly people who, for example, are suspended by the president based on allegations of corruption. I'm disappointed that they're not holding members of the past administration to account with all the other reports that we're seeing. So I'm disappointed in specific things, but not in the overall performance of the government. I am not. I'm actually pleased with a lot of things that I'm seeing. And I think those are all the questions that were asked. But just to sum this up, guys, I want to thank you very, very much for what you do on this platform, and let no one say because the likes of Costa are no longer here. So there are men here. You are men who are speaking. We all have different styles. Some of us are firebrands. Some of us are rebel routers. Some of us can bring thousands of people on the streets from a little apartment in Delaware. Not everybody has to do that, but that doesn't mean those who can do that aren't making a contribution. You are all making meaningful contributions. You're having meaningful discussions, and you're holding the government's feet to the fire. And I commend you for doing that. You're asking the hard questions, and you should do that. And hopefully one day we will get the Liberia that we all want, but we cannot give up on that process. I want to say this in closing. I will return. I will return in 2027, but not as a talk show host, but as a full-fledged political animal. I will return. Rest assured I will. Thank you very much. God bless you, and may God save our one beautiful, beloved country. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Pedro. We appreciate you, and I want to say thank you for taking your time up to come and sit with us and have this engagement. I know people have their own feedback, but that's part of the democracy, part of what we do. People will have their own way. Those you criticize, the supporters will be the one to say this and that. So that's why we used to this. So we expect everybody to say, "Oh yeah, you guys don't ask a tough question." The question was asked some tough questions here. Everybody had tough questions here. Everybody had questions, and so that's how we work. But I want to say we appreciate you. And if anybody made a mistake to think that you are nobody, I think tonight is another testament that you are somebody in the political climate. And I mean, look at the numbers you do tonight. It's not something that happens all the time. And most of the shows that are on the platform, on the internet, they were shut down tonight. See what I want to say. I saw other people watching the show tonight. You have people, leaders of the country, watching the show tonight, and that's because it's Henry Costa. And since we announced your appearance, people have been asking, talking whether you're going to come and so forth. And people they late tonight, but they're all watching the show. We want to say thank you again, and we appreciate you, and we look forward to having you another time. Thank you so much, Pedro.
Thank you, gentlemen. Bye.
Guys, that's it. I'm calling for the night. I don't know what you guys got to say, but I'm away with my Memorial Day. I got to start celebrating my Memorial Day now. But Peabody,
Yep. Look,
are you start celebrating on Friday already?
Look,
Yes.
Look, man.
Are you traveling?
Man, say it or leave it.
Get holiday in, like, bro. You know that.
What the Fula man right there? Who that Fula?
You coming, Fula man?
Look, it was a great show. And I said I gotta go start my Liberia Day.
He waited on the coastal left that he can't.
No, but too many kept in the back. Too many. I would have asked the man promotional questions.
This year's holiday in America, right? Memorial Day, right?
Oh yeah. Say it, like it, or don't like him. Costa is Costa. You know.
This man, and your supporters, all the government are in power. He single-handedly took down a movement, another government, and supported this government. So we see what to say. You want to have to be on your team tomorrow. I mean,
Costa is a very smart politician.
Will still be relevant till 2029. So
George, I was so impressed. I'm a critic of this guy, but I was so impressed because 2004, 2005, I was sitting in the office with Jack Klein, and he said, "You're coming home to help." I told Jack Klein, I said, "Jack Klein, my wife is pregnant with twins. We're expecting twins. I cannot do that. My family comes first." This man says, whatever you want to say.
Your favorite thing in Georgia, listen to me right now, Mr. Gayman. If you just text them and say, they can enjoy you when talking.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you for shielding Costa.
So here, this man said his family.
I'm not the show. You not count the show again. It's not one person everywhere.
The man said golf first and his family second.
I'm professional. I'm not like you that begging government.
Anybody who says that golf first, my family second, family, he will not negate or neglect that family aspect for anything. I had no more question to ask. Any man or any person who puts their family ahead of everything else, a lot of respect, because I had 3 girls and their well-being was important to me, that I would not go into government. Now that they are all grown, that's why when I look at Tomalin George with all girls, it's a special place in my heart. Anyone who put their family first. That's why the man said, I have a 9-year-old son. It's time for me to think about him, his family, and what I bequeath to him. So for now, economically, it's me. What else can you say? You can't criticize someone for being truthful. That is the fact. He's not here to bombard. He's a friend of the government. He's here to support his family, and that comes after God. And you have to give him credit. That's how it should be.
The message is that you want to be a
Listen, I don't get nothing against the man protecting the family, but he cannot come here and tell us the vehicle was not $600,000. We have the clear video of the company that worked on that vehicle, that sent that vehicle to West Africa and said this vehicle is for a presidential motorcade for one of the presidents in West Africa. We have the
you can prove that. You can
prove it now. What the evidence? What the evidence?
I will share the video with Mr. Gilman.
No, I said the video now. Share it now.
I have the video, but I didn't say which president.
I didn't want to jump in. 1 minute, please. I didn't want to jump into this, right? But to say a video from the company, no company will build vehicle for a presidential vehicle, they can't give it to anybody. That's not true. No company will do that.
Mr. Pewee,
my point is
notorious for jumping the gun.
Is that the most expensive?
Something on somebody.
You don't lie. Listen, why now agree with the government? I would not like to come and bring you lying. Then you say, Tony, why you can't?
Anthony, why the fight? You have to substantiate your fight.
Can you allow me to speak?
I think you should be telling her that you have already sent a video that the people had to place it up.
I'm not saying that the people that already spoke.
Yeah, but they will all the audience, nothing less than the truth. It's not your turn. Jackie on the show says it's your turn. It is not your turn. Just came on the show. He says it's your turn. What makes it your turn? What is your turn? I came on before you.
But you weren't here from when Costa was here. That's why I meant.
We gotta go.
Yes, I wasn't here when Costa was on, but when Costa left, I came before you.
Making a big deal out of this.
It is not your turn. When it's your turn, that the people who is a moderator ask her to be quiet. It's not your turn.
But you're not the moderator.
The show done at 9 o'clock.
I mean, can't just make accusation without proof. And you want to be quiet.
Let me ask you a question.
No, but I am turn to speak. Let me give her things. Let other people tell you when it's time. It is not his turn. That people will tell me to remain quiet if you want to, but it's not your turn. If there are people that say you should speak, let you speak. He's not a moderator. He can't make us on the show. Why is he not listening to us?
He can speak for himself, not use. That you speak up about Peabody.
Okay, God.
That Peabody is the moderator. When he tells me to keep quiet, I will keep quiet.
I want to get you 2 minutes each so we can go. I'm not staying here long. So you're coming.
Okay,
so we should go first.
Let me come in.
Okay, City King, go first.
Okay.
2 minutes, bro.
So I think it was a great show. You know, I followed the show in the back. But here is the thing. You know, when you come on the kind of show, you know, the guest is being asked a question. And I think Sylvester interrupted when Costa was responding to some of the questions being asked. You know, and I think that was unfair because I asked him a question and this was very, very important.
Is that interrupted?
Because, of course, you interrupted, you started bringing in joke and then make whenever you answer all the questions, maybe you have forgotten about some of the questions were being asked. So when a guest came on, he answered the question, he gave him a chance to answer
At what point I interrupted him when he answering question?
Okay, let me end up now. I'm giving
No. You don't come in. You don't come to kind of show you made a kind of a fabulous accusation and you say you won't end up.
Of course,
you won't end up.
Of course.
Are you coming in kind of thing that got fundamentally no business and you say you won't end up? You can't make those things that business, then you want to end up. At what point in time, the man, I will interrupt the man for answering questions. I interrupted the man. If you got nothing to say, that remains short and that close the show. I didn't interrupt the man.
That's okay. Let me.
No, don't do that to me. It's unfair. I'm here. If I have left, no problem. But I'm here. Trust me, it's unfair to me, man. It's very unfair.
Thank you, Sylvester. But I was following the show, and again, you did interrupt her, and it's not Costa's fault because you interrupted, and maybe he forgot about some of the questions that were being asked. But here is the thing. You know, a few months ago, I think a month or two ago, Costa came up publicly to apologize to the Liberian people, you know, and he did talk about his meeting with President Parker. And he spoke about President Parker being disappointed with some of the ministers and some of the government agencies, like the LACC, the Ministry of Justice, you know, not being able to speedily handle the corruption allegations that are before them. And this is the same Costa that campaign, with this message that the reason people have not been able to see the kind of leadership, like President Boubacar possesses, because he's not been able to accede to the position as such as the presidency, where when you are involved with corruption, allegations, you can take a decisive action against you. And then President Boubacar is the president now. Instead of taking a decision, he's disappointed with officials of his government. He cannot take an action, but he's having a secret meeting with Costa and the rest of the other people that may not have come on Facebook to inform us about the president's disappointment with some of his employees without taking a decision. This is really, really concerning. It speaks a lot about the kind of president we have. He don't have a courage to how they call it, to make people to account for whatsoever, whether it's true or not. We don't know, but we have an indecisive president. That's why it's people that Costa who ran a campaign for Joseph Boakai, and he was on the show. You talk about LEC being stable, and the God we serve. We're not saying LEC not stable though, but the God we serve is not sleeping. LEC went up while you are praising the government. And I'm sure you see Liberia right now. These are things that you don't come and try to turn around because you are friends with government or people in the government and all of that. For me, I think this is not about what people say. For me personally, and I'll close on data to Peabody. Personally, for me, I have had the opportunity to work with Costa in the COP. We were in the youth wing of the COP. He's a good man. And some of the nonsense people say about him that he's a blackmailer, I don't believe that. Because there's like people who live in the Netherlands. He had a case on the Congo town where he built a property. People tried to take his property from him. I connected that guy with Costa. Costa spoke on that guy case for a month. He didn't ask that man for 1 cent. So I know that he's not a blackmailer like other people will say about him. He's a good, I know you mean well. But when it comes to those things where, you come with principle, inconsistency, you say one thing today and tomorrow you don't mean it, and you become so emotional when people try to hold you to account for some of the standards you set for other people. You want to run away from those things. I think it's unfair to the Liberian people, because what Costa did, my people, is going to have an effect on the Liberian people for 6 good years. This is not something people come and say, so, I just forget about it. He's focused now on his family and all of that. Yes, he can be focused on his family. But there are people who are dying because of the decision he made, because of the kind of message he sent to the people that resonated, that today President Boubacar is the president of the country and all of that. So for me, I think it was a great show. But again, there's a problem in Liberia. This government should face that. You come on the show, you say, LEC been stable. Look at it for all, because you know what? I carry my LEC, carry the LEC in the darkness. So what can you say? You go to international people, you say, oh, people are employing Liberia, but on that same stage, you are being disgraced there. That's what happened here tonight. So for me, I think it was a good show. So thank you so much.
But other people, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, Abu. You got 2
Make
minutes.
a point, brother. Ask me a question. I'm not guessing.
You got 2 minutes to ask questions.
But Sirigi, listen, Sirigi, my man, why is you like not guess? My man, why is you like not guess? But there are people following us. We owe it to the public. So when you can't you may an exception. Me in my mind.
And then people they say the show already closing. So make your statement, you go, brother.
Okay, yeah, but quickly, I think it was a good show. Listen, I mean, he declined to answer my he declined to interesting question from me. But other people I got Sylvester. I think it was a good show. As always, Costa is a seasoned intellectual. He stated his position with regard to government. I got how you see this government. He created the government like anybody would do. LEC, I just want to. That's the question I'm about to ask you. LEC is stable. When somebody say LEC is stable, then me again go. Of late, if you ask people who are critics of the government and they acknowledge what LEC has been doing, so for Siriki to come on the show because Kosa leg went off and you see it as Kosa not being truthful, I think he got it wrong. But one thing I wanted Kosa to talk about, like he did not talk about, only we are administration 2018, because when we are won the elections as president, Costa went onto a show and said that for the sake of the country, he will, but actually he will support we are. What do I mean? He will promote the image of the government. And Pewee can bear me witness. He said he'll promote the image of the government. I think after a few months, he went back to the opposition. From all indication, he said Weah was not Weah was not the man or the guy he believed at the time could move Liberia forward. So when he came on the show, he was against that backdrop. I asked him the question, but Tomalin, who was the moderator, did not end up reminding him to answer all my question. But quickly, yesterday, because it's already 12:10 here in the morning, yesterday yesterday the guy who the CSA, I mean, yesterday the CSA had a, I think had a press release or had a meeting with HRs. You got keep hearing people talking about government using for the 8 million, government still for the 8 million, CDC force wants to protest. The CSA and the Ministry of Finance have made it clear that there is no 48 million missing. So whatever these guys want to do in the name of protest, I think it's just a usual propaganda stuff. But it was a good show. And me applaud Pewee, even though you are hating on cause but it was a good show. It really was a good show.
Thank you. Okay, that everybody, if nothing much, because yeah, I mean, on a serious note, it was, and we look forward to having this kind of interaction. It's important that the country will have to move forward, and I agree with that. And he had his own position, and he defended what he believed, what role he needs to play now. It's not always time he said he's going to be doing things for the people. This time he need to spend some time with his family interests first. That is paramount. We all will take key attention to that. And we all have to, those that have never followed suit, we have to learn that on a serious note. Myself will always take family and interests. But having said that, our national interest is also very paramount, right? If you want to always be a politician, while you're going to be a family person, but you have to take the interest of those millions of other children and families, very important, and that you will stand for them and do the right thing, and be bashed up the government, lambast them if they're doing the wrong thing, commend them they're doing the right thing, and if whenever you lambast them for wrongfully acting, then sometimes you proffer some solution and the way forward. It's important that we do that and move the country forward. But I think that's the essence of democracy. That's the essence of politics. We will come and go. People will come and go. People come and discuss. People will sometimes vacillate, right? They will come here, they go here, they come back. But again, it's part of the line of the justification that we gave. So I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just here to probably push and preach for the right thing to be done on behalf of the country, so the country can be lifted from object poverty and this huge infrastructural deficit we have today in the country. There's a need to do most of those things. And we will disagree to agree eventually. Our common denominator is going to be the country we have, and we have to protect the interests of the country. If we cannot do that, no one's going to come and proffer those kind of a solution for us and defend and be a public relation. There's going to be no public diplomacy if we ourselves don't engage or indulge into those on behalf of the country. It's important. While we would sometimes heavily disagree with the state, the government, in terms of what they're doing wrong, we will agree with them if they are doing anything right. And that's where we strike the balance always. So, I mean, it was good. And hearing from him, that's his line he talked. We should heavily respect that. Yeah, that's Peabody. So there we are.
Anthony's still there. If not, we will call it a day. I think it was a great show. Costa, like him, hate him. He's Henry Costa. He's a very popular man. He can influence, and I like this stand he said. He said, look, I'm going into business, and I know some people say they applied, they didn't get the license, but Costa fought hard for that party. They should give him preference. He fought hard, and they're in power. So they should give him opportunity. But because of Costa, the party got to where it is now. So, take your leave it, man. He's still a formidable force when it comes to Liberian politics. Guys, it's been a great night. Happy holidays. Abu, have a good night in Liberia, and I hope your brother feel well. We'll be praying for you, Abu, and your family. I hope your brother feel well and get the help that he needs. But other than that, Sylvester, I will call you. Let's stay in touch, man. Good night, guys.
Thank you, man.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
All right.
Peabody.
All right, buddy. Good night.